Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another exciting episode of the Umzansi Esports League Season 4. My name is Dr. Sid, here with Snare and Thendo, who plays everything but chess. Pun intended. And we are here to give you guys some exciting news and some exciting updates on what's happening in the world of esports in Africa. And that is the hottest league coming to you guys straight from us to you on the African continent. But before I say too much and go off key, ladies and gentlemen, take a look at the schedule for today. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, as you have it, we will be starting with the FIFA 22 segment with two matches. One coming up from Bobo Beast versus RT Bira, and then moving on to Mobizilla versus Masoom. And these games promise to be super exciting. Then we're going to switch up pace a little bit to the PUBG Mobile segment, where we're going to have three maps for you on our three different maps, which is Erangel, Sanhok, and Miramar. And what might you ask is all the hullabaloo and all the excitement about it is the season 4 prize pool, which stands at a whopping $17,500, with $15,000 staying in the PUBG Mobile segment and $2,500 staying in the FIFA 2 segment, ladies and gentlemen. So, what is happening today? First off, we're kicking off with two amazing matches and two guys that definitely know how to bring it on. It is Bobo Beast versus Ati Bira. Snare, talk to us about what these guys bring to the table.
So these two guys, Atibira, of course, we have seen a couple of showings from him. The latest entrant into the Umzansi Esports League has had a bit of a rough debut. Had to go up against the Beast Bianchi and then up against Mobizilla in a very close matchup, which almost got him points, but unfortunately he fell short just at the very finish line. Whereas Bobo Beast, this guy pretty much a survivor at this point. Not only has he come back into the Umzansi Esports League, having survived the promotion relegation battle, he's one of the few players to have done so twice in a row and have come out the other side still successfully in the Umzansi Esports League. So you know that this guy is prepared to play, able to hang with the very best. Sure, might not necessarily be able to place in the top 4, get into playoff berth, but has presented a lot of challenges for a lot of the top players. And in fact, right now, before we even go into this matchup, I was talking about how Atibira had lost to the Beast Bianchi very badly in his opening matchup, 8-0. Bobo Beast, one of the few to have beaten the Beast Bianchi, the only one to have done so in Season 3, and so far, one of the only people to have beaten the current champion, Young Savage. He was the first one to do it as well, so he's definitely looking like he's a dangerous competitor in this season versus a lot of the other ones, and someone to keep an eye on going forward.
Okay, and very quickly, Nintendo, tell us what we're looking at with the latest, with the standings as they stand so far.
Yeah, I think today is nice and open, for this table to really shake things up, right? Not spoiling too much on our second match later today, which is Moby and Masoom. I kind of feel like out of favor Masoom in that situation, so maybe Moby's dropping off a couple of points here. Bobo versus Ati. I feel like Bobo's on this one, right? I think we have to give it to Bobo, like Snes said, coming in and out, just showing the resilience of what it's like to be a true competitor in the Umzansi Esports League. Bobo takes this one today. Maybe Moby loses this one, bit of an upset for him, right? And then the table's looking interesting. Now, all of a sudden, that relegation competitor that we were all looking kind of down upon, but still knew had a lot of potential, is all of a sudden in that top 4. A little bit in this conversation of maybe he's coming in and it's just like trial and trial again is going to pay off. So excited to see exactly what's going to happen, but I don't think we can cut out Atiri. I think you get beaten really tough like that, you have to come back strong, or else you're just gonna fall wayward.
Yeah, Ati has shown that he does have, some skill on the ball and definitely deserves to be in this league. So this is a very interesting, very, very interesting matchup for me. It's a guy who made it up, plus a guy who refused to go down. So this is like,
Yeah.
this is gonna be super exciting to see. But just very quickly before we go in, I just want to ask, and I want to get this out. Snare, what are your predictions? And Nintendo, what's your prediction right after Snare?
I'll say I'm gonna go Bobo Beast on this one. He's been looking hella clean in the season so far, so I think that I don't think it'll be as easy for him as he would like it to be because Atibira did show some good stuff. So I'll say 3-2 for Bobo, maybe 4-2, but it's gonna be at least 2 goals from Atibira.
Okay, Nintendo.
Yeah, you see, I'd also give it to Bobo, right? My only issue is I'm worried for Bobo that maybe he's just not ready for what Ati has, right? Because coming in as a new competitor into the Umzansi Esports League can always be, hit or miss, right? You're either just a wild card that no one really is able to read, and then, you're causing upsets here and there. And you can kind of see Bobo with that kind of like, um, presence inside the league right now that like yeah he's not the top dog just yet, right? But underdog FC definitely making the come up and making it happen slowly and surely. So I'm just worried that maybe Ati is a bit too much for him. But yeah, I think I'm giving it to Bobo. Score wise, maybe like a 3-2, might be tight.
Okay, let's see. Match is about to begin. I'll give it to Atibira going for the proper underdog in this match. And ladies and gentlemen, leaving you in the very capable hands of Tendo and Snare. And I'll see you after the first match. After the matches.
So here we go. We're getting into it, Tendo. Atibira taking on Bobo Beast. Both of these gentlemen have had to come back in this particular season through the relegation promotion qualifiers. Bobo Beast maintained his slots, and Atibira was able to take the old slot that belonged to Darth Mayhem in the previous season. So now it's going to be a little bit more pressure on him to get these opening goals going, right? Just so he can solidify himself in this matchup. You see him in the box already. Williams, that is not a great way to start the game.
Yeah, maybe a little bit of nerves hitting him there, when you're open to go right in the beginning. It can be a bit nerve-wracking, right? Because then you set yourself up so nicely for the rest of the game. Yeah. You really get rid of all that pressure, especially coming into this game, because like we've been looming upon, it's two, players in the league that aren't necessarily the best coming from relegation, but have something to prove and something to show. There is Bobo trying to do that, but squanders the passes down the middle. Ati's going to be able to recycle that ball.
Ati looking for a long ball here. Williams yet again trying to get on the other side of it. See, yesterday we saw him utilizing this strategy quite a lot and making sure to get on that ball. So undoubtedly we'll see him utilizing similar strats today. For now though, he's still going to be on the defense as we have a deep run coming in right now from Bobo Beast. Underdog FC trying yet again to get some points on the table. Will he be able to do so cleanly? Mbappe is in on space. Can he find the turn? No, we cannot. Lost this challenge, ends up taking the ball away at a critical moment. It could have been a goal, but Atibira hangs on at least a little while longer.
Yeah, and I was about to say that Ati is looking a little bit loose in the defense. He doesn't look quite solid, not holding up a really solid line to go up against Bobo's defense, and Bobo's really explosive. So when he got that opportunity to get inside that 18-yard, I think it's a little bit over for him in this situation, especially what we just saw. But Bobo squanders it, and so buys him a little bit of time here, Ati. 15 minutes down. Bobo making this attack down the middle. Defense is not getting sucked in just yet, holding up their line well just for now. Recycling the ball with Wijnaldum. Wijnaldum on the wing. Can he find the cross in? He's just going to run it out. Interesting. Nice. From both sides, actually, right?
Yeah. Very interesting in terms of how he deployed that defense, but how Bobo tried to adapt to it, put him a bit wider than normal, and hell, not just wider than normal, but a player like Wijnaldum that deep on the box on that far of the flank, different position than expected, and it doesn't end up working out for him. We'll see if Atibira's run this time around will yield him success. Sadly not, and it seems like both players are really struggling with their clinical type of passing, clinical finishing, just any kind of proper, efficient, and accurate plays inside the box itself, and that's where the nerves start to take place the most. But I think it's also a thing of where both players aren't really sure and certain just yet of the other's rhythm, because both of them do play very differently than the rest of their competitors in the Umzansi Esports League. So sometimes you prepare for the other 6 people that you're playing against, you forget about that 7th. It takes you a little bit longer to adjust to their playstyle.
Yeah, man, it's that Nkosi, Super Cup fire coming into this one. You never really know what kind of plays are coming out of that, and Ati's definitely an example of it. Bobo's struggling thus far, and this is one of those games, like we said, that you probably look at Bobo, being the more resilient of the two thus far. It's come out of this one on top. So far, defense has been slightly better than I think Ati's, but yeah, I think nerves hitting both of them, right? Because realistically speaking, if you look at this is basically a 3-point fixture for either way, right? They're both not really favored in the league, so this is where you're going to get your points, and if you squander the opportunity, you're going to be looking back at this game as maybe that difference between making it into the playoffs or staying out of relegation, whichever way it goes.
Bobo Beast last season definitely saw the value that a single point could make for you. Had he gotten a single draw, especially on that last day, he wouldn't have had to play relegation promotion. Having already gotten the win over Giulio the Beast Bianchi. This season, he's already gotten his first 3 points on the board, so a little bit less pressure going forward in the season, but still need to at least claim these 2 wins. And you're struggling to get it against Ati. It doesn't get any easier from here on out. He needs to figure out a way through here. He's on the offense. Mbappe looking for a partner. De Jong, not really able to get there. Unfortunately, Frankie de Jong, amazing player in most respects. Sprint speed, not one of them. So can't really close down the gap, even though he has very good attacking positioning. Not there in time to receive the ball. So Atibira can maybe string together a counter-attack off the back of this.
You know, my real big worry with Bobo is, what if he's only a player with big game temperament, right? You know, sometimes that can be a syndrome. You know, you get these these weaker matchups where it's like, yeah, I can walk away 3 points on this one, and that's where you kind of take it easy. You kind of slack off with some of your clinical passes, etc., etc. And you're kind of seeing that in his final third. He's not really as precise as we've seen him against the likes of the Beast, etc., etc. Ati is obviously coming into this one still trying to get experience, right? So I think he's playing up quite well against Bobo compared to what we thought Bobo would be bringing into this fixture, right, Sneh?
Yeah, absolutely. Bobo definitely will be feeling to himself that even if he hasn't gotten a goal, should we have wanted to find himself in more progressive positions on the pitch more often. And he's really struggling. He does finally get away through Wijnaldum. Back in a similar position where he played the ball out last time. And this time around, though, it doesn't go out. It goes into the back of the net. Bobo Beast, it looked very close for a second, but Dembele on the rebound, gets it into the back of the net, opens up the scoreline. Nazi Bira not going to be happy about that. It didn't seem like it was going to be a goal until it actually happened, Tendo. And now he's playing from behind all of a sudden.
Yeah, Spider-Man goalkeeping there. Comes in clutch just for a little bit, you know. Unfortunate the way he goes in, and now Ati's going to be working in this pressure. And he's got some good passes coming through, opening it up just a little bit. You know, I think what I'm seeing that he's struggling a little bit is just a bit of his timing. Some of the timing on the passes, the plays that he's trying to make aren't really on, but thus far he's looking good. Gets the through ball straight into the defender. And that's going to call the halftime. Not how I expected that half to end, honestly, Snare. I kind of thought it would end 0-0, would come into this one, right? And then, you know, that second half would kind of be the decider. Maybe that's where we would have seen that one goal. But, yeah, it was a little bit of just like, you know, a bit of a mess up in the back.
Yeah, just a bit of a scramble there on the side of Atibira, and it didn't feel as clean and consistent as it could have been in trying to keep the ball out. It also does feel like, as much as he's holding and maintaining his own line pretty far back and not making it easy for Bobo Beast to pass through him, it also feels like at the same time, that line itself, he's not being very good on the individual man marking and the individual pressure. So once Atibira is gotten past, once a player has been gotten past with either a dribble or a pass, it feels quite difficult for him to recover from that position. And going, I feel like also that goal, let's be serious, Bobo got a bit lucky with that. It is what it is. Luck, though, is a skill that is necessary to win. And he's got his goal. That's all you need at times, right? You don't need to be posting up 4 or 5 goals. Those help your goal difference, but you need the points more than anything. And now Bobo Beast, he has them, right? This is a situation he was denied much of Season 3 in the Umzansi Esports League. But right now, should the status quo not change, he's gotten himself 6 points on the board this early in. Going to help a lot with his prospects of staying in the league going forward.
Yeah, I think so. You know, he needs this fixture, I think, to build that confidence as well that, yeah, I definitely am here to compete, to play in this esports league, and I'm going to make a name for myself. Ati squanders the pass, loses it down the middle, and now there's options that
what a tackle.
Run into traffic. Yeah, great tackle coming in from Ati, but once again, the ball's just going back and forth between the two. But this time, Bobo does have a few options to work with. Through ball, it was an option. Don't think he saw it quite yet, but this one he does see. He sees a beautiful one. Goalkeeper's on it though, and the defense, but the keep.
Nah.
Wow.
That position is too good. That position is too good.
Yeah,
it's
it
so
was
good.
It's so good. I feel like the keeper does make that stretch, right? But just going all the way to the corner of that pole, and even if he nicks it in, it does exactly what it does there, right? It just curves into the balls.
Yep.
Tough one.
What breaks my heart is, as the progression of the play was coming up, he literally mentioned that there's a little bit of space. Will he go for this pass? And he goes for the only pass that could have gotten him that goal in that position. Mbappe in a wonderful position. Now, all of a sudden, Atibira dealing with 2 goals instead of 1. And this seems to have fired him up, though, because he's deep into the final third, looking for some step-over plays, playing with a renewed bit of fire. Perhaps he needed this little bit of a kick in the ass to remind him that, hey, man, this is a difficult competition. You need to come here and play at your absolute highest level, game in, game out. Looking a lot better. Sadly, though, 2 goals is a long way to come back from. And will this be a third? Atibira, just by the nick of his teeth, keeps it out. But Bobo now feeling so confident on the ball, and he just feels like he's settled into the rhythm of this game at this point.
Yeah, he's definitely controlling the pace of what's going on today, and I think Ati's just trying to catch up for the most part. And thankfully, he's getting the ball, though, right? I think possession-wise, it's still in the favor of Bobo, but Ati is there, but he's just not converting in the final third. And that's really the problem that's going on, and especially if Bobo finds that third goal in, he's kind of burying himself in. That pass, that option is there. Bobo, does he see it? Nah, goes into some traffic. It was looking dangerous, but just a couple of these options that the players aren't really utilizing.
In that situation, Kyle Walker was on it, but there has been a little bit of... Oh, no, what a mistake from Bobo. Will he take advantage of this? Atibira, yes, he will.
Okay, we've got a game.
Nabu Fekir gets a goal back. Gets it into 2-1, and like you say, we've got a game on our hands because a 1-goal cushion, practically nothing in FIFA 22. All of a sudden, Atibira, I mean, that is definitely a moment of luck. It happened for Bobo. It's only fair it happens for Ati. But now it's going to become a very interesting situation because now does Bobo have the temperament to hold on despite letting that go through on a very clear mistake of his own.
And I'm just hoping he doesn't slow down, right? You know, because I find sometimes this is what happens with Bobo. He gets in the lead and he's feeling comfortable, and then he starts to slow down, and then everything starts to break apart for him. There's still time, 20+ minutes to work with. He's finding a couple of options down the middle. Defense is in and holding up their line for Ati. That's a fine Mbappe. Mbappe onto Dembele. It's a good ball. He has just a bit too far, so he's going to try to bring it back in, but the defense is on it. The defense is trying to close down the space. Doesn't have any space to work with. There's a bit of a gap, and he's finding these gaps here. Bobo can take the shot. He takes it. Keeper's there, though. Sends it wide.
Yo, damn, this entire game, it feels like we've been watching Spider-Man 2. Like, the goalkeeper with the Spider-Man reflexes has been on retirement, but he finally comes back at the right moment for Atibira. Keeps the goal out, keeps the game going. And at this point in time, it is not the easiest situation to be in if you are Bobo Beast. Sure, you are still ahead on this game, but you ideally want to be able to put this to bed, make this a 3-1 lead for yourself going into the next leg, because confidence is a major factor in these FIFA 22 games. Confidence and momentum. Atibira almost took a game off of Mobizilla, but faltered because he ended up losing out on the confidence and momentum. But if he can maintain the scoreline, keep things relatively tight, he can still feel like he has a pretty good shot going into the second leg, put more pressure on Bobo, and it helps a lot if he can get some key tackles like that just after set pieces, allow himself potentially the numerical advantage into the other side of the pitch, and indeed he does. Explosive sprint, beautiful pass to Marcus Rashford. Does he find a man though? No, he cannot. Too much energy used, and unfortunately he doesn't also track back fast enough with Vinny Jr. to get the possession back. But still, very good attempt from him and a very good sign of life from that passage of play.
Yeah, looking good, I think. You know, he can definitely walk away from this if it ends as it is, as just a bit of a stump along the way. I think that first goal definitely, you know, kind of just opened things up for Bobo to work with, but Bobo's opening things up for himself. Finds some beautiful passes and he's in!
Oh my God.
Oh my goodness, he works it like threading a needle. And there it is, he's back up in the lead, and now Ati's going to be feeling that pressure. When we thought he was absorbing it so well here, you know, I kind of thought that he was waking up, making some decent passes down the line, really seeing what kind of options he has on the pitch, and then all of a sudden the defense just falls into pieces.
Yeah, there was a very sad moment where he went for the sliding challenge in the midfield, and unfortunately he got dribbled past, and the numerical overload happened from that point onwards. We might get a goal back here. Bertrand Traore, what? Okay.
What? Okay.
Literally just passes it past the goalkeeper. Traore gets a goal in there. So it makes it 3-2. I feel like for Atibira, had that not happened, game 2 would have been a wrap from jump, but now he still feels like, well, this game is weird, this game is wild, but anything can happen to favor either of us. So goals are still there potentially on either direction. Good way to come back into this one. Moments of glory just at the end of the game might help him out, especially if he can keep this final ball out from Bobo.
Oh, the touch is so good. Gets past everybody. Slides it back in like he's popping some roast chicken in the oven, man, for Sunday lunch, you know. And, I mean, he's back up, and this game is interesting because this is back and forth, you know, and I just think Bobo has that slight advantage that's keeping him ahead, which may or may not be that luck that he got from that first goal, but as it stands, he's in the lead. But Ati's on it, trying to make this attack. Ati knows he can score against Bobo's defense, so it's not impenetrable. He's trying to hit these plays, trying to draw some defenders out. Chip ball in. This is looking promising. He's in, but not really. Ball is recycled, and that's going to be the end of the game. And I feel like that's a difficult one to analyze, right? I feel like both players not really showing up to the table today in terms of just like impressing us with like how well they're playing. But, you know, playing to whatever degree they need to be performing, right? For example, Bobo obviously doing what he's here to do. You know, get that lead, get those points on the board, you know, try to increase his goal difference and just walk away with the dub, regardless of how it is. But definitely could be a lot cleaner, I think, you know, with a lot of the plays that are happening, especially on the side of Ati, because he's got it in him, man. I think he definitely has it in him. We can see it. But I think nerves probably and just, you know, a little bit of experience is probably lacking.
Yeah, I definitely think so. I think experience is probably the key thing, right? Is that we think about Bobo Beast. If we consider the season he had in season 3, and even just in his come up initially in season 2, he had a pretty rough time of things, right? And he was struggling game in, game out. But now he seems to have a better handle of what to do in these situations where you're ahead, your opponent is clawing their way back, what to do in order to really put them back into the coffin, put the nail down and say, no, I'm winning this game right now. Because how many times in season 3 did we see Bobo in these advanced positions, winning the game, and then he'd lose? Suddenly, out of nowhere, right? He'd lose his composure. You were literally mentioning it in the game that, like, once you score a goal or two against them, it felt like he just became a worse player immediately in the aftermath of that. But his experience in the Umzansi Esports League is helping him stay in this composed position, not allowing himself to get emotionally taken advantage of. And Ati Bira, regrettably, doesn't have that same degree of experience at this very high level, right? Certainly has the skill to be able to play it, but you can tell that, like, you know, whenever players don't have the experience at this high level, your skill can let you down because it's a very stressful situation. These are really good players. And when you're forced to try and figure out a new strategy on a dime, it's expected that you'll be let down at that point, right? But I feel like he also did, it could have been a lot worse as well, right? Considering what the advantage was looking like against them. So 2 goals, it's a lot. But, you know, Bobo scored 4. Ati's already scored 2. If he can just clean up the defense, Sendo. If he can just do that, that's it. That's all we need him to do.
Yeah, okay. I mean, the defense is a big issue for Ati. And I mean, yeah, continuing into the rest of the season, we definitely need to see a tight up of that, right? Because it's really the goal difference that becomes the ultimate decider sometimes, right? It's those little margins along the way during the season that no one's really paying attention about, right? Everyone's so fixated on just like trying to win the game. They don't really care how it happens sometimes. And this is kind of a clear example of what's going on, right? Where I'm talking about, like, Bobo has this experience under his belt and he's using it to his advantage, bringing himself back, you know, into this game. But he's losing these points along the way that are going to be crucial to stay inside that top 4, right? Because we know how competitive it can be in the Umzansi Esports League here, hosted by Northern Gaming, right? It can go down to the absolute wire, 13 points on the board, whoever has just the extra bit of goal difference. So you really want to see him clean that one up and coming into the second leg, which is just underway.
We've gotten started now to kick off, and Ati Bira wants early goals. Okay.
Wow.
Wait for some screamers here.
Wait,
all right.
Wait. Hold on a second. That's a little bit too much to be installing ourselves with there, Ati. You're gonna have to calm it down.
Some people have dessert for breakfast. Like, that's what Ati Bira is trying to do here right now.
You know, when you think about it, like, pancakes is basically having the dessert for breakfast. Whoa, he's actually giving us the whole meal here. No, actually, he gets
still dessert.
There.
Still dessert. Actually, you know, we haven't gotten to the real meat and bones, but I like the passion and the kind of flair that he's playing with already. But look at Bobo trying to take advantage of this immediately. Mbappe, can he get past these defenders? Nope, because Ati Bira although he was playing so aggressively, didn't actually make the mistake of putting that many players forward. So once Bobo Beast got here, he found a lot of green shirts back. But unfortunately for Bobo, he gets past the final defender, but cannot surpass the keeper. Gets drawn out. I am so shocked that didn't go into the back of the net. But Spider-Man is back. Spider-Man 2 is over. We're now into the sequel, so he's going to be reflexing again for Artie.
Amazing Spider-Man, to say the least, at this point. And Artie's back on it, trying to make these plays. Got some options in the box, but the defensive line is holding up well. You know, sometimes you can really feel the pace of the game. Even just like how we're costing or how costers are costing, right? Because that last game, very slow paced. You know, we were kind of also just slow paced, kind of just analyzing what's going on. But now we're just running at it, right? Here's Neymar running into the box, making all this space for his team to come inside, dribbling everybody here. Bobo's on a bit of a tear down. It goes out though, unfortunately, in for set play. The cross comes in, it's a roll cross, but it goes a roll cross into the defense, and there's options in front for him. He sees the option, he's trying to go for it. But yeah, explosive right now, I think the game, you know, compared to that first leg, very explosive.
Absolutely. It's crazy at this point. Artie knows that he needs to go full pedal to this metal on the floor, get everything going himself. What a slide tackle, but he gives it away. What's happening?
How do you do a Superman slide tackle like that and give it away straight after, man? That's so unfortunate. And now Bobo's on the attack as well, trying to create something down the middle. But the defense is good this time, I think, from Artie. You know, he's holding up the line. He's trying to cover up all the options that Bobo has in front of him. And for now, everything seems to have a contingency plan. We'll see how well he can develop here with Wijnaldum.
Slow play here from Bobo, trying to get things going. He doesn't want to put himself in a position where the counter attack can be on, but at the same time, doesn't want that to happen either, where you pick out a pass, but it gets immediately intercepted. He's doing a very good job, though, of man marking here on the flank to keep Sanhok from running forward. We've seen what this player can do when given freedom, but he's gotten a bit of space here. Williams, back to Sanhok. They're on the edge of the box. Is this the opportunity that he needs? Atibira, no! Too soon on the pass. Williams gets covered completely, and Rafael Varane keeps it safe right at the back for Bobo Beast. It's still 0-0. It's still 4-2. But Atibira looking more and more dangerous as these minutes tick on.
Yeah, I think he's really come to life now, right? You know, sometimes some players do need that warm-up game, and maybe that's all it takes to unlock the beast. But we're talking about a beast, and here's one taking a shot, and the goalkeeping right there. Super. Nah, you're right. You know, when we're coming into the beginning of the season, right, you know, you were telling me what's different in FIFA here and there, and you're like, yeah, the goalkeeping, my guy, is something else. The goalkeeping is something else. Some of these shots should be going in. And then the man comes through and stretches and stops him. Right? He's trying his utmost best now to try to bring it back.
Still has a very quick half. It feels like the time has just gone past in the blink of an eye. 30 minutes in already. We haven't had a goal. Still 0-0, but feels like it could break open at any given point in time. Mbappe, will he use some of the explosive sprints? He will. Gets past his man here, Kyle Walker. It feels like over the last couple of days, Atibira's really been struggling on that right flank. Kyle Walker might need to go at some point. Yes, he provides a lot of pace up the field, but on the defense is where Atibira is having the most issues and where this player has been letting him down. But this time around, does do his job, works well. Still playing very slowly to get this one out, but we know that once it hits midfield, it's going to be rocket pace. Out. Feels
yeah,
good.
he just went out there. He tried to keep it in, couldn't really do it. But
yeah.
You know, when you just have to stop and see what's about to happen. Like, okay, all right. They keep it in. Bobo's on it. There's an option here for him to try to play down the wing, if you can see it. But running into the traffic, just draw the free kick at least.
No way is he going direct.
I was about to say, I wonder if he fancies a cracker over here, man. He's going for it. He's going for the fake. He's taking the shot. The pass is in. Yeah, he's just going to go for the set play. Trying to bring it in. But the defense is in. There's lots of bodies in there that he's going to have to get through, and there's no ways for him to get past that. And the long pass comes through from Achi. Don't know how he sees that one, but the defense is able to snuff it out. 40 minutes already. I mean, this half flew by. I mean, it's so much quicker than how that first half and that first leg went. And Bobo's on the attack once again. I don't know if that pass was intentional, but It's working out for him just for a little bit. Dembele's in with the fancy feet, but it's a bit too fancy and gets swept up.
Atibira strong on that challenge, and yet again he's been finding good positions, just can't convert from the no. Why go to Sanhok? Why? There was space in the middle, but okay, it's all good. He hasn't been scored against just yet, which is going to be the critical thing, and he's been really, really good at preventing the ball from even getting to the final third. The only way that Bobo Beast has been able to do so has been with some very strong dribbles, like he's doing now, and the turn.
Yeah, you know.
Oh my god.
You know, some games we enter and I'm just like, all right, cool. What's really the tempo? What's the pace? What's going on here? This is one of those games where they just all of a sudden throwing everything at you, right? It's like that first game, they're really, really hesitant on just like what to do, I think, between the two of them, right? I think you could see the moments, you know, of brilliance coming from both players, right? Because there is definitely brilliance in both these players. And it sparks here and there, I think, Snare. And now it's all of a sudden just like a burning fire on both sides, right? And I think, you know, unfortunately, Ati is behind, you know, and that's what happens if you're not really cognizant of this two-leg, you know, phenomenon that's happening here. You can enter slowly in that first game, but you can't let this lead get you like this, right? Because now you're really under pressure. You have to throw yourself all the freaking time. And I just hope it doesn't break his defense, even though he's looking really good with a lot of his attacks.
You know, you were mentioning earlier in the game how, as we go into the second half right now, you were mentioning how Bobo Beast might be one of these players that levels up depending on his opponent. He might just be a big match game plan kind of player, requires the occasion to rise to it. But Atibira might also be in the same boat, right, where he might not necessarily be able to play his full force from that positive in-front position or a neutral position. Seems to be very comfortable playing from behind. Well, comfort's the wrong word, but let's just say it seems to bring the best out of him. And
adaptable from behind, you know? I think that's the word we want to use here. It's got interesting players on the pitch as well, you know? I think that's just coming in from Kosi Super Cup. You're not going to really be put up with what the meta is, but he's in, you know? He's making the plays. He's causing a lot of pressure onto Bobo. He's in. The shot! Oh!
Atibira!
Okay.
Alrighty. That's why Williams is in the team. Gets the turn in the box, and he managed to hold it off for so long. And Bobo Beast, you can tell he wasn't stressing as much, right? Because he probably felt to himself, well, I've got all the regular angles covered. I'm ready with the defender to track down any man on the ball. I am prepared for this, but he played for so long, Atibira, on the edge of that box. When he finally gets in, immediately able to cut through the defense, gets a goal. Now it's only a one-goal cushion again. Bobo can't press, but Bobo, what a pass, but what better defending and goalkeeping from Atibira. Keeps it out, keeps himself in, and he might have opened up a run for himself here, Tendo.
Yeah, but it's offside, unfortunately, so that's going to reset for Bobo. I mean, the passes are coming in from both sides here. I think, you know, great plays. Now Bobo is probably going to wake up. Only one goal to work with, and we all know how one goal is in FIFA. It's not really a good cushion to sit on. You have to fluff it up a little bit, add a little bit of extra feathers in there, you know. And now Bobo looking to do that with this attack. I mean, the defense is so improved as well, I think, from Ati's side, right? I think he's understanding, analyzing exactly how Bobo is been playing, what he's doing. Still, here and there, you can see the cracks, but the shot comes through. Goes wide to the top of the post. He's going to go in for a goal kick.
I'm glad we're casting 2 games today, because I'm pretty sure once we get to the second game, we're going to see that ball come into the next pitch. That's how wide that went. Ati trying to get his own goal back, though, immediately. Oh, wow, he actually got it. He actually got it.
He actually got a cross goal.
Oh, my goodness. Like, so
it's been so difficult, you know, for players to actually work off those kind of plays, hitting the cross in, get the header in. Past these, you know, Spider-Man goalkeepers, and there he is. He's leveled up 3-3. And now if you're Bobo, you're really feeling it.
You know, it's a bit of a shame that you weren't here yesterday, because we actually got to see Atibira himself, right, get a goal with Inteka from a header in a very similar position that he just got a goal now. And I think he got 2 goals actually from a headed position. So we were talking, I think it was last week, about how in this FIFA, there are better options from the air. Not as many players able to convert from it. But Ati shows he has that medal, shows he's able to hang with the big boys. It's now tied up in its entirety. It's 4-4 in aggregate. Nobody has the advantage. It's only 1 point. Bobo Beast, though he was ahead in the first leg, leg number 2 seems like it's been primarily the RT Bureau show. Sure, these goals have come a bit late, but for the most part, most of this control has been from him. Even though Bobo Beast has had these individual moments of brilliance, it seems like he's been figured out, especially because of how high the level up on defense has been for RT Bureau.
All right. Just waiting to see if anything was going to develop there. I think it does fine. No, I think you're completely correct. You know, and I think adaptable is the word I used. And that's exactly what Ati is, you know, displaying. Quite adaptable on what's going on. And, you know, like I was saying, the issue is that the first game goes under the water with him losing, right? When he definitely had the potential to walk out of this one with the 3 points. Like I said, this is a 3-point fixture for both players, and Ati is definitely the more hungry of the two, taking the more risky of the shots. And I mean, I like that, you know. I think the one thing I must critique with the top flight players, you know, is that they're not risk-taking like that. Like Ati is just rogue with some of these shots, and yeah, they'll probably not go in, majority of them, right, based on that percentage. But hey, man, you never know what happens here and there, especially when you're down. You've got a little bit of momentum. It's always good to shake up the opponent and just see how they're fitting in their mental. And Snare,
I mean,
what's the play right now from Bobo? I think is my question to you. I think Bobo's out of options, out of cards.
so it seems like he's trying to change things up right now by bringing in some fresh legs onto the pitch. Maybe this is going to be the little bit of a shakeup that he needs, because it also feels like the way that his team composition was functioning was feeling a bit stale, in the sense that RT just knew exactly who to cover at any given time to be most effective with his defensive maneuvers. So now, hopefully with the new players, there is some hope. And with Neymar now making a very deep run, he is covered by both Konde as well as Marquinhos. How is he going to get past this? Kyle Walker right in front of him, forced to recycle it back to De Jong. How does he get forward here? And this is the problem. This is where he's always been trapped in the second half, in the second leg in particular. But now he's through. Oh! The 12th man. The 12th man. There's nothing you can do about the 12th man. I'm sorry, Bobo. You had it. You were in position. You were in the right place. You got the right shot on the right player. But you just got denied, and there's very little he could have done to prepare himself for that. That's so sad. That's so sad for Bobo.
Yeah, really sad, honestly. You know, if it's not the goalkeepers, it's the posts, and you just seem to have the world against you in FIFA 22 for the most part. He's still in on this attack. He might be able to find something. Finds the options onto Jess.
Oh my God.
The shot comes through. He gets the goal. He brings himself back into the lead. 10 minutes on the clock. What does RT have to answer back with now? If he walks away losing this one after such a great comeback, that's going to be bittersweet for the story of today. But Ati's still here. Ati's still making these plays. He finds the pass in. Can he find the goal that he so desperately needs? But the defense is also desperate. They also want to keep this lead going. And there he goes with Sterling here, Bobo.
Oh my gosh. Bobo Beast, he came so close to being drawn up, but now he's back in position with these 3 points. Will he be able to solidify it? Wants another goal to make certain that this is the case. We've seen this before. He's lost games from this position. He's finally poised now to take a game in that same spot. But slide tackle used up by Marquinhos. The center back is completely off position. Will Atibira be able to exploit this? You see Marquinhos desperately trying to run back. He's not there in time. The ball is through for Atibira. Can he find the target man? Inteka gets it to Rashford. He's still on the ball despite being slightly inconvenienced on the pass. Can he get forward? He's on the flank right now. Marquinhos yet again dragged away from center back. This time around though, the risk well taken. And the tackle gets him the position he wants, gets him the ball he needs, and potentially Tendo gets him the 3 points that he came here for today.
Yeah, I mean, what a way to go out, I think, man. Ball comes out, shakes everything up, and yeah, Ati just no response just yet. And there he is. He's in again, but the goalkeeper saves him. But I mean, that's what he wants. I mean, that's great for him.
Yeah.
Gonna play that set piece, you know, take it slowly, bleed out the clock. I mean, Ati was a great showing in today. I think, you know, I'm really confident with what he's brought onto the pitch in the second leg, at least. You know, that first leg really shaky, I think. Snare cross comes in, nothing from it. Game's probably gonna end on that one, and 3 points, like predicted. Not quite the scoreline that I thought, at least, but I think we all saw Bobo walking away with these 3 points, but it wasn't easy, was it?
No, 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 no. It wasn't easy at all. He had to dig very, very deep to be able to claw these ones back. And I think it's not just him having to dig deep to claw it back, but Bira yet again showing that though he's the promoted player, he's never going to be a pushover unless your name is the Beast Bianchi. Every other time, you got to play your best.
And that was just amazing to see. So sad because I was really, really rooting for Bira over there. And he looked like he had it in the second leg. But of course, Bobo B showing why he is back in the Umzansi Esports League. He's like, listen, they tried to take me down last season. I'm not going down again. I'm going to show everybody what I can. That was such an amazing game. Big shout out to you guys for your predictions. Ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, is the Bobo Beast taking the match against Atibira 5-4 on aggregate in the FIFA 22 segment. Let us take a very quick, sharp look as to how these points now affect the overall leaderboard, as Stendo explains exactly what we are looking at.
So with that one, we see Bobo sitting at second place, and I mean that's lovely to see. I think if you were following the entire of the Umzansi Esports League season 3, seeing Bobo in this position really shows a lot of improvement, right? 6 points is almost as much as he got in the entirety of the last season. So setting himself up well to maintain that spot, especially coming in now, right? Moby versus Masoom. I mean, Moby loses this one, he's going to stay around about the same spot, and obviously we'll see Masoom go up based on goal difference, and that's where that goal difference comes in, right, guys? These are the little margins, right? Because now he's potentially going from that second spot to, I think, maybe fourth, third, or around about there, right? And yeah, the small margins, it's that game of two legs as well, right? Because at the end of the day, right, it just took one goal to secure him in that second leg to get into the spot. Ati sitting at the bottom, unfortunately. I mean, 3 out of 3 losses thus far. He's really gonna have to start pulling it back, I feel.
Yes, he does, because when you look at the goal difference right now, that goal difference could come in handy during the later stages of this game if you want to qualify for the next round. But then again, big shout out to the two players and what they've done. Up next, we do have a very, 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 very tight match that we're looking forward to. It's what we like to describe as a mid-table battle. It is Mobizilla versus Masoom. I'm going to call this Mozilla. This is a nice matchup. Snare, what should we be expecting from this particular match?
So between these two players, we did see both of them play over the course of this weekend already. It's going to be, traditionally, it would always be a Masoom favored matchup. And Masoom, over the last couple of seasons, would have been very heavily favored coming into this one. However, the way things stand right now, Mobizilla is experiencing a little bit of a resurgence for himself as a player, whereas Masoom, yesterday we saw his matchup against Divac, and it didn't seem as clinical, as sharp as we normally expect to see from Masoom. The Iceman has clearly melted a little bit here. So under normal circumstances, he'd be very favored. But now coming into this one, it feels like it definitely is a mid-table game between the two of them. And he feels like he's also the one that has the most adapting to do. He feels like the one that's still playing a lot of the FIFA 21 meta rather than the renewed form that everybody else is playing. So I'm expecting this one to be a very close affair. Mobizilla obviously wants, not revenge, but he wants to prove to Masoom and everybody else left in the Bravado camp that, hey guys, me leaving Bravado was a loss for you guys, not a positive at the end of the day for the organization. So he has a lot to prove to Bravado. He has a lot to prove to the Umzansi Esports League. And he has a lot to prove because if he can take down or form a champion, that'll be a great signal to us to know that Mobizilla is certainly back in the top flight and back ready to play at the very highest level.
Wow. And that is exactly what we're expecting players to bring it, because this is the highest level. Very quick, I'm going to jump to your predictions. Thendo, what's your prediction for the match? And then Snare right after.
Yeah, I think going off what Snare said, you'd usually give it to probably Masoom here, the Iceman, to close this one out. But Moby, like you said, is having this resurgence, and he's definitely playing a lot better than he was. And especially right in the beginning, right? Because it's always good to start off well. And I think that's exactly just like the footing that you need. So this might be a close game. But like I said, I felt, looking at the table, just based on the matchups today, I saw, Bobo winning that one and then Masoom winning this one. So my predictions on Masoom's win, just to shake up how the table looks a little bit. But it will be close. I'm not going to give a score prediction though because I
Nah,
know
you
that
have to.
one. Yeah.
We have to.
Okay. 5-3. 5-3 to Masoom. That's how I'm
5-3
seeing it.
to Mobizilla or Masoom?
Masoom.
Masoom. All right, Snare.
I think, like I said, I think that Mobi, from the games that we've seen from both of them up until this point, right? Although Masoom has displayed a higher ceiling of play, and when he's at his height, he really does seem like, wow, this guy is still really, really good. I think right now, Mobi's floor understanding of this particular iteration of FIFA is slightly better, even though Masoom is an actual better player on the pitch. If he can leverage that understanding for himself, I think Mobizilla might actually have a really good game. I'm not sure he wins, but I think this might be a draw. I think this might be a draw, like 3-3. Yeah, like a 3-3 draw. Yesterday he drew against Divac, right? And I think that Divac looked really hot yesterday, though. And I think if Mobizilla can exploit the same weaknesses on Masoom, in particular how bad Masoom feels when the game is slowed down to a crawl, then yeah, 3-3 draw might even be a win for Mobi, but I'm confident in the draw.
Okay, so it's Mozilla for you then. So looking at these two players, I mean, like you said earlier on, and I think I'm not sure if Mobizilla or Masoom doesn't conform to the FIFA 22 meta. He's still
Masoom,
on
not just yet. Yeah, not just
Masoom,
yet.
yes,
Doesn't
not
feel
just
like
yet.
it just yet. Yeah.
Do you think that that is a positive or a negative going into this game?
It's a bit of both, right? Because it's a positive in the sense that he doesn't necessarily have to worry about being figured out in the same way. Like everybody else is playing a particular style. He's doing his own thing, right? So then if your ideas are working for you and you're doing your own thing, then you feel really good going forward because you don't have to adjust and change as much. But it can be a very big negative in the sense that we saw yesterday, where once you get figured out, because you're playing an older style, it's really, really easy to shut you down completely. Divac yesterday made the second game. Masoom didn't get to play FIFA 22 at all. And that's the one drawback of playing this more older style, is that if people can figure out exactly what you're doing to incorporate that into FIFA 22, they can just shut it out, prevent you from doing anything. Masoom might not be able to do that as easily as Divac did, but it is something that he has in the back of his mind that he's aware of. And Masoom is going to be aware of that as well. So he now has to play not just up against his opponent, but up against his own play style to make sure that he wins before his opponent can figure him out.
Wow. Then though, looking, I don't know if you do you play, I mean, if you play FIFA, you sort of get an idea that every year something changes. And obviously we've seen how the goalkeepers are just like Spider-Man with webs and slinging webs and catching balls and flying in different directions. But there is a different way you have to break teams down in FIFA 22 that can make your goals absolutely easy or very difficult. Do you know what I mean? Like you can score some really, really easy, beautiful looking goals because the AI, the way the players run this season or this iteration of FIFA 21 it gives you an opportunity for some great goals. Do you think that some of these a lot of the players obviously in this season of Umzansi need to sort of switch up the way they defend more than focusing on the attack?
Yeah, I think I agree with you, right? And one of the things that is definitely different is just how, the ball moves in the air. I think we saw a good glimpse of that with Atius. I think mastered that thing, that aspect of FIFA 22 where, the aerial option seems to be a little bit more prevalent.
All right, so thank you so much for that. The game has started. I will see you guys after the match. Stendo and Snare, take it away.
Thank you, Dr. Sid. Let's go into it. Masoom taking on Mobizilla. Used to be part of the same organization. Now they are at odds with one another in some way in this competition. Mobi has a lot more to prove. And if he can get an early victory here, it'll be so good for his confidence. And Masoom needs to defend, doesn't want to have to lose to Mobi because that'll be crushing for your own confidence as well. Being a former champion, but the guy that left your organization still being the one that beats you doesn't feel nice. So he needs to also show his best foot forward here.
The pace is, really fast already, I think, in this game, right? And we're going to see a lot of action going up and down the pitch thus far. As it stands, Mobi trying to build up this attack. Options, too many to work with. So holding on to the ball, utilizing that slowing down that you're talking about that Masoom doesn't deal with so well with. And Masoom deals with that one at least well. Recycles the ball. Dembele on the wing. Doesn't find the pass just yet. Finds the one onto Kante. Kante onto Mbappe. Mbappe can maybe run it down, but pulls it back to him. Dembele holds off just for a little bit, trying to see what he has in front of him. Has the options, has the chess pieces, yeah, which is Mbappe. Mbappe is in! Whew. Is that going to go out for a corner? Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's a
All
corner.
I thought otherwise.
Yeah. Referees' bribes have not been paid today, so it's just going to be a normal corner kick, and he's actually through on goal. Masoom sneaks one in with Paul Pogba. Mobizilla caught a little bit unawares, a little bit sleeping on that one. Not able to get the ball clearance off of Pogba, who was able to creep it into the back of the net. Beautiful opening goal there from Masoom. And great for him to open it up so early on, right? 15 minutes haven't even passed yet, but he's already ahead. And now can play from this advantageous position for the rest of the leg in question.
You know, the thing is, right, also Masoom coming into this one, it's probably time for his revenge arc, right? You know what I'm talking about, guys? Like, he's feeling a little bit, you know, pushed around in the league thus far, and maybe this is the time where he's like, let me...
Unfortunately, he's still being pushed around a little bit, you know?
I just hate when you sing something and they cut you off like that, man. These Donggon kids.
Don't your players have any respect? We're trying to have a conversation here. My goodness, what a goal though from Mobizilla. And the thing that's really scary for me is, let's compare and contrast the two goals that happened. Masoom's goal was sort of very sneaky, right? Came off a corner, very scrappy situation. There's a million players forward. Mobi thinks he got the defense, but fumbled the ball at the very last second. Pogba sneaks it into the back of the net. That goal, though, that was developed and clean, very far off, and it felt like it was an inevitable goal to be scored there. I'm not even worried. You see, 21, that would have been a goal. And 22, not even going to interrupt my sentence. We know that the keeper's got this.
Not even, you know, just keepers always on their mark, ready for it. And yeah, this one started off quite explosive, right? 25 minutes down, and we've already got a goal on either side, and Mobi's looking to be aggressive once again, pushing the ball forward. The defense is a little bit broken. It's down the center. The pass was really good, but I think the defender just timed that one well, you know, to intercept it. So now Masoom's on the attack. Pogba, already a menace thus far. And then Hernandez on the side to Pogba, trying to open up the middle of the pitch. Mbappe, Pogba, Kante, running it, finds Neymar. Neymar, defenders in front of him. No real options to work with. Does find the one over here, turns it around, takes the shot in, and it's sinking in.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. First one, right? You know, back and forth.
Quick game so far. The legendary pair, Paulo Nedved, pulls through, gets a goal. It's 2-1 up right now. And Masoom will feel very good about that goal because that one wasn't a scramble. It wasn't like it came very prepared. He scored it. But this is what I'm talking about how he still plays a very FIFA 21 style, because I've seen that goal from Masoom a million times in the past. And now he's trying to string together yet another one. Neymar inside the box. Neymar with a shot.
What is this class?
Woo!
Oh
Okay. Okay, Mobizilla has not read the old notes. He hasn't read the new notes. Struggling right now with Masoom. He has read some of them. You know, it's seen that slowing down the play can help a bit, but Masoom not intent on allowing him to do that, and immediately keeps the pressure, the tempo, and the pace of this game very high, and has scored 3 goals in the first half as a result.
It's 35 minutes even, right? You know, 4 goals in the first 35 minutes. Hello, pretty much almost the same amount that we had, you know, coming into, I believe, the second half. And the 12th man.
12th man.
The pull. If it's not the pull, it's the goalkeeper.
Ish.
If your luck isn't on, you're just not gonna have it. It seems like sometimes, and the option here is looking good for Masoom to bring it back in, and the shot is in. The keeper's there, sends it wide. Another set piece coming in, short one. Dembele's on the ball. Dembele's looking to run it in, runs it out. Goes back for another set play. Can he find anything here? Brings it out wide this time onto Kante. Kante onto Mbappe. Mbappe is in a dangerous spot. Mbappe takes the shot, but the fingertips, dude, the fingertips send it wide. And he's back
Just in time. Back in though, and the danger's not passed just yet. And I think that was going offside, so does get drawn away. The referee's whistle. That will be music to Mobizilla's ears. Hearing that, it's gonna buy him a little bit of time, but a little bit too soon to try and get the ball forward. He's not gonna be able to do so. In fact, here's the counter-attack. Nedved.
Oh!
Denied by the 12th man, but not for long. He gets back in immediately. Yeah, all right, Masoom, you're talking about a revenge arc, and unfortunately, he's making Mobizilla his punching bag here. 4-1 in the opening half of leg number 1. Looking so good doing it as well.
Like an episode of Invincible over here, man. What's going on? Omni-Man over here. Call him Masoom at this point. Tearing it down.
You know, from Iceman to Omni-Man.
I mean, wait, start off, right? I mean, wow. What do you even do? I'm kind of at a loss for words. I didn't really expect this, to be honest with you. I was kind of ready to just be in this one a little bit slow, you and me having a bit of a conversation, just trying to analyze the two of them kind of breaking each other down. That's what we thought was going to happen. Just, you know, the slow plays as well coming in from Moby to try to just slow down the pace of, you know, Masoom, but that's not happening at all. It's 5 goals first half.
Yep.
I mean, what a tie already.
I think it's one of these things where Masoom was just aware from jump. Moby's been playing a lot more sloppily since that 4th goal went through. Feels like he's quite rattled right now. He needs to try and calm down, breathe a little bit. Otherwise, more will be coming. And more might come right now as Mbappe looking for this pace. He just literally ran straight. The shot goes very wide. Quite poor finishing there from Masoom. But I think part of him didn't actually believe how easy it was to get into that final third. Moby was looking actually quite clean and solid. Though he led through the early goals, when he was able to track back on the defense, wasn't letting the runs happen that easily, but looking very rattled right now by the pressure and the pace that Masoom has been setting, finding it quite difficult to keep up.
Yeah, it's proving to be tough for him. And the worst part, right, is Masoom's just in the driver's seat, controlling everything that's going on. You know, I feel like he's even prepared to let go of a goal if he needs to while he's on these kind of attacks, pushing a bunch of players forward. I mean, the entire defense is here holding down this line. It's like there's nothing that they can really do, and he's just walking through them. He takes a shot,
Dude, what is
it
this?
goes in. What is going on here?
Masoom. It's only a game. It's only a game. Why you have to be mad? Please relax. Just calm down.
I told you about the revenge arc, man. You know, these anime heroes be coming back.
This is more. There's more. This is not even a revenge arc at this point. This is a vengeance villain arc at like the way things are going right now. He's turning into the big bad of the storyline because this is a shocking defeat. Mobizilla 5-1 down right now. 4 goal difference. Sure, we've seen Julio the Beast Bianchi slot 8 goals past Atibira, but that's Atibira. And even in the previous season, Mobizilla was one of those players where you could beat him, but it would always be a slog. You'd very rarely score like incredibly high goals against them.
Yeah, definitely, man. I look forward to watching the Moby games, right? Because it's always nice to kind of have that wild card in the league that you never really know what's going to happen. And maybe people will hate me for saying that. It's like Arsenal, right? You know, Arsenal's good. They're amazing, but not all the time. You know, sometimes they'll fall a little bit wayward. And this time, it's falling really wayward for Moby, and the attack's on once again. Masoom's just slicing him up like a pizza at this point, dude.
Oh. All right. Is this a January fixture between Arsenal and Man City? Are you kidding me right now? This is... Wow. Yeah, just wow. Masoom is on another level right now.
I mean, the relegation match was a little bit more competitive than this, right? You know, Ati versus Bobo, right? That one, we were really in it. Like, wow, what is going to happen next? This one just feels like we know all the spoilers at this point.
Yeah, Masoom, spoiler alert. He didn't give us the spoiler tags, and we are in a position where this 6-1, man, he's trying to beat the Chelsea-Norwich score from earlier today, the way things are looking right now. Sandro Tonali inside. It's not.
Oh! What?
Denied. Juanluigi Donnarumma, baby. Gets the save. Keeps Masoom in a position where he's got a 5-goal advantage. Nabil Fekir, can he get this one through into the back of the net? No, he cannot. Donnarumma on at the hands again. Not even necessary because the offside flag was called anyway. And Masoom, I mean, like you said, he doesn't even care if he gives up a goal or two back in the opposite direction. But he's going to be ecstatic about the fact that he hasn't, right? Because we're going to see this goal difference now, getting him closer and closer to that of the Beast Bianchi with some extremely high numbers posted up. And that means that provided he's equal on points with the other players around him, playoffs is pretty much a guarantee because we've seen goal difference make the difference in that situation before.
Oh, man, defender is in the right place at the right time right there for Masoom, obviously. Moby's going to be a little bit angry at what happened there, but this chip pass comes through, doesn't find anything. I like seeing that from Masoom, you know, more daring, more risky here and there, especially when you have the lead like this. I mean, 75 on the clock right now. There's still a lot of time for anything to happen, and there is something that's good. He play is on it. He takes
too much space. Too much space. You're too far. Too much curl. Just power and direction. That would have been a goal.
Would have pulled it back a little bit, right? You know, because now still 5+ goals. We're looking at this man scoring in the second leg. I mean, he's got a bit of time here in this first one. But with Mbappe running this down here, the pace is looking good, but the defense at least is on it. Pushes it a little bit too forward there, I think, with Mbappe there, Masoom. But hey, why not? You know, you never know.
We saw this in his opening fixture as well from Masoom, where this is a thing that I actually like to see. There's been a bit of critique on him over the years about being a bit too static as a player, but trying to adapt and be more dynamic with his gameplay. So once he's in a very commanding position, using the regular strats, he'll use the remaining time to try something new, right? Try and figure out different ways of getting in on goal. And I mean, there's no risk, and you want to be able to practice these kind of things in a real tournament environment. Masoom finding the ways to be able to do so. With the clock ticking down here, he doesn't really have any fear of a bad result from this game. The first leg is pretty much guaranteed to be in his favor. Most likely the second leg as well, if nothing changes. So he has so many opportunities. And now with all the pressure back on Mobizilla, given that to break down and beat Masoom in FIFA 22, you need to play at a lot slower pace than you would like to otherwise. How is Mobizilla supposed to play slow when you have to score 5 goals as quickly as you humanly can before Masoom can get his own back as well? It's so difficult to play from this position.
Yeah, it's really tough, right? You know, and I mean, you look back in those first 10 minutes, which is so crucial, just before that goal comes through and everything is looking good, and maybe oh no, Dembele's in. Goalkeeper's there at least, sends it. Gonna be a set play. Could be dangerous. He's actually going for it. Doesn't find anything. Finds the rebound at least. Mural's in. Oh, he's trying to go past about a bajillion defenders in front of him. And there's just too many, at least.
Damn.
We're gonna end on 6-1.
Yeah, it looks that way. Just by playing the Volta mode there inside the box, Mbappe couldn't get through everybody. So it'll end 6-1. If you'd said in the first 20 minutes of this game that this was going to end 6-1, right? No way. There's no way.
Yeah,
it
right,
looked like Moby had it.
Wasn't it?
Yeah. Moby was doing the thing. He was playing properly. He had a good read on how to progress on the pitch. And even the goal that we saw get dragged back by Masoom, right? It felt like it came sort of like out of nowhere in a scramble situation. Didn't feel as pinpointed as normal. But then out of nowhere, he just decided, I'm still really good at this game, yo.
Like, what do you even think happens, right? Because it's weird because, like I said, that first 10 minutes, 15-ish, 20 minutes, right? You're like, wow, this is going to be a bang of a game. We're going to have like a tight one, a tight affair. And then all of a sudden, it's just like, you know, a wine glass falling off a table and everything's just shattering into pieces. Like, what's going on? Did, like, you know, the mental break for Moby as well? Like, there's so many questions that I'm here just wondering, like, wow, what is going on?
I think like the mental definitely broke in some regard. After goal number 4, he played a lot worse after that goal went through. But even in the run-up to that goal, I think one of the things that Moby's been struggling with is whenever he's on the defensive posture, trying to keep Masoom away from the box, he's really struggled with the initial touch on the ball, right? As in when the ball comes to Masoom, Masoom's first touch has been really good in this game, and he's been struggling to deal with it, struggling to get the key tackles, the key interceptions. As a result, he's not really able to play when he doesn't have complete control of the ball. And if he doesn't feel like he has complete control of the ball, he's sort of forced to just play it around midfield. He's not playing this ball progressively. But compare and contrast, whatever happens when Masoom gets the ball, he's almost immediately in on goal. Even if he's not getting the goal from that position, that's the intent of the play itself. And that's what I kind of meant about him playing still this very FIFA 21 centric lineup, where he doesn't build up play. He doesn't care about flanks. It's about who's closest to being able to get me a goal, get the ball to that player, how do we get it into the back of the net. Every single time, that's a strategy for Masoom. And if you can't stop it, it's one thing to know that that's going to be the strategy, but if you can't stop it, then it becomes a lot easier for Masoom as well, because it's frustrating to know something's coming, be unable to stop it. It makes you play a little bit more sloppily because you're like scared and like have a lot of tension in your mind about what's about to happen next. And here, that pass, my gosh. You see, stuff like that, right? Moby doesn't do. Right?
He lets that ball go as well, and there's maybe the option in here for him to just increase the damage, man. And he does do so with Mbappe. And I was about to make a teacher reference, you know, or school reference, where it's kind of like studying an exam and knowing what's going to be in the exam and still somewhat failing, you know, to some degree. It kind of feels like that because they played each other well enough to understand the play styles, even if there's a few, you know, variations and switch ups here and there. And, you know, there's endless VODs, there's endless opportunities to find out how one player plays. It just feels like Moby came in prepared, and we saw that in that first leg that, like, yeah, you know, this is about to be a good affair. It's about to be a good fixture. We're going to get this competitiveness that, you know, we've been dying to see from Moby. But it kind of just feels like, you know, the nerves have gotten to him. That first goal in this leg as well is just like, you know, getting that one through. Just unfortunate to start off.
I mean, look at this. Look how easily he's being drawn away. Sandro Tonali, one of the best DMs in FIFA 22, especially in Ultimate Team. You know, I think he's like defensive position is like 89 or something. It's insane. But he just got past like it was nothing. Everyone's just been running past him, getting through to him. Mobizilla failing this open book test. It's just very difficult for him right now. And Masoom, every single time he touches the ball, feels like it might turn into something magical from that point. And, oh, that's an interesting ball to Isak. Unfortunately, there's no support anywhere. Achraf Hakimi, thank you for that tackle. Allow me to preach the gospel once more. Get Achraf Hakimi in your team. Thank you very much. Thank you. And welcome to the Achraf Hakimi show. We welcome you.
I actually think that's who Ati was missing on his team, right? I don't think I saw Hakimi.
He didn't have, yeah, he doesn't have Hakimi, sadly.
Yeah, I think, you know, maybe if he's watching this, maybe slot that blade. Oh!
What?
What?
Again, right, look at that passing lane. Sandro Tonali, nowhere to be seen, right? We have Isak in front of him, who's trying to play a little bit higher up to put some pressure on key players. Obviously, he can't track back fast enough. Barella and Vidal are trying to cover the area around him, but all of them don't really have the pace to be able to keep up with some of these players from Masoom. I think that's something else that we should keep in mind as well, right? Is I'm looking at this team from Moby. There's a lot of high-skilled players. There's a lot of players with great positioning, good passing, good ball control, good dribbling. But pace is not an accusation that I can levy against this team. It doesn't have a lot of it. So if you can overwhelm them with pace, which Masoom's been able to do, very few responses available from the squad. I mean, what does he have? He has Memphis, who has high pace. That's pretty much it. Him and Isak, nobody else. And it's these two who are always inside the box, but nobody else is able to get the ball to them, unfortunately, because nobody else is fast enough. Everybody else has to play on defense, because if they don't, it's what Masoom will do. Overload you with these incredibly fast runners on the other side of the pitch.
Yeah, and it's hard for him to close them out as well, right? They're just always looking for pockets of space, the players. And it doesn't really seem like Moby's able to cover those spaces, especially when he's trying to pull his attack up. And then, you know, there's just gaps in the defense and in the middle. And that's just how Masoom is running through it today, I think. You know, it's a bit disappointing that he doesn't have all these plans, you know, like that. You know, just like an open lane for him to get the through ball in. He's got the options here. He's slowing it down just a little bit. He's going to draw in for the set play. Good on Masoom here. He's going for the cross. The header in, goes into the keeper at least. And I mean, yeah, just like a lane like that, you know, usually you expect that. Masoom's going to take that every day of the week. Why isn't it covered by the defenders? No, it's because, you know, they're trying to push up forward, especially like right now. Look how many people are getting committed to the front. As soon as this turnover's in, everybody's just trying to track back, and there's all these lanes. It's just, it's tough, man. It's tough. I mean, what's the score on aggregate right now? 8-1?
8-1. It's a painful 8-1 right now. It's not an easy game. I think what makes it worse as well, like what you're mentioning about these open lanes, is whenever he's trying to move forward and put as many players up for the attack as possible, not only is he left bereft of players to play defensively, but given what we're talking about now with his very, very big lack of pace relative to what Masoom has, it's much more difficult to use individual players to cover a bigger area of the lane. You need pretty much every single player, both of your DMs in position, the entire defensive line ready and waiting. Playing any other way just seems so dangerous. And even if you play that way, Masoom still gets in and he turns with Mbappe right in front of Moby's face. Easily able to slot it in for a third one. 3 goals in game number 2. 9 goals on aggregate. Masoom out here. And this vengeance arc, at this point, you know, we've got our two villains. The Beast Bianchi and Masoom, evil men. Evil men. This is not right.
Evil men at this point, dude, honestly, man. This is an injustice, you know what I'm talking about. The way it's set up, how it's going for Moby. I didn't expect this to happen today, you know, with this fixture. My issue as well is like, is Moby going to be confident going into the rest, right? Because you need to maintain that confidence to some degree. That's the first half, man. Gosh, you would have thought the game's over at that point, right? You know, just the way it's going. And, you know, Moby's just so deflated right now, man. And you know, you've seen such good moments from Moby, you know, from last season, you know, spells during this season as well thus far. And to come into a game like this, yo, man, just even looking down 9-1, it's just...
Painful. It's painful.
Where do you even begin to crawl back into this one, man? Like what are you playing for in the second leg right now, if you know, Snare, if you're Moby?
You're playing for 2 things. Firstly, you're playing to make sure that you can get some goals onto the sheet, right? Just get some goals up on the board, just to be able to demonstrate that you can. Just to be able to remind yourself that against this top flight competition, against the top flight opposition, I'm still capable of scoring, even if I don't score enough to win. The issues aren't necessarily in my lack of ability to score goals. And the second reason why he needs to score and he needs to keep playing, which he might get a goal here. No! Juan Luigi back again. Donnarumma with the hands out prevents almost a certain goal there. And you see that will actually lead perfectly into the second point, because you were mentioning he might be deflated for the rest of the season. If he loses this one badly, if this turns into a cricket score, then it really harms your chances for the rest of the games going forward. And situations like that, when you get a goal that's pretty much given to you on a silver platter, and while it's in your hands, it gets taken away from you, that is terrible for your confidence going forward. And Mobizilla definitely will be hoping for an easier matchup next, because you can't have this happen again twice in a row, because if it does, he just has no chance left in the league, just from his own perspective of playing as a confident player.
Awkward pass there for Masoom, but he won't be able to recycle the ball. And I mean, I'm here with like Darth Mayhem flashbacks the way this is going down, dude.
Ish.
Like, wow. It's
okay.
just one of those games. Okay, he's got it back.
Alive. So this is what I was lacking, right? And that's why he has both Tonali and Vidal on the team, so that they can cut out those passing lanes. Like you were mentioning, he was being sliced through pretty much at will by Masoom. And Masoom's like, okay, cool. You're going to try get in position like that. Fine, I'm happy to play the ball high as well. I mean, Masoom can do whatever the hell he wants. He doesn't have to care about anything right now.
Yeah, he really doesn't have to, right? This is, like you said, a good time for him to kind of experiment some things that he doesn't normally do. And this lane is just always open for him down the middle. He tries to scoop it through, but it goes wide. You'd think that maybe was on, but just not. But now Moby can make something happen, get a few consolation goals, and a goal difference, man. Like, you know, the problem is, yeah, sometimes you can sweep games like this under the rug. Like, yeah, bad day in, you know, reset, and then we see a better Moby throughout the rest of the season. But then it's going to be like this negative, what is it?
Many.
Yeah,
negative 8 right now, yeah.
This negative 8 goal difference that's going to happen. Okay, well, we're not too sure how much he's sitting on.
Oh, you mean in
0?
total?
Yeah, in total.
I think he was at 0 right now. Either 0 or like -1, -2, somewhere around there. Either way,
so,
it's not great.
Yeah, it's not great, right? And even if he does improve throughout the season, gets that little bit of form, it can be that those seeding, you know, positions, right? Because just all of a sudden, now you have to go up against the very best because you went, like, you know, 4th place. Like, if the seeding works exactly the same as last season, right? And you don't want that to happen. You want to put yourself in the best position possible. And games like this really don't put you in those positions. And I mean, Masoom's still on this. He's still finding these, you know, these lanes, these gaps to work with. Look at that through ball, that option that's there. Doesn't take it just yet.
Nice, cool.
I think there's just too many defenders there. He's still on it. He's still building it up. Mbappe is still in. Mbappe has a few options to work with, but he's just going to run with Mbappe. He's just going to work with him. He's going to let the man do God's work as much as he can, and it seems like he's through with Dembele, but thankfully the defense stops it for a little bit.
I'm loving what I'm seeing though from Masoom. The fact that he's actually purposefully trying to play into a slower style, into a more developmental build-up passage of play is helping a lot, because this is definitely the weakest aspect of his current game. Obviously hasn't been on display here because he's been immaculate all day. But the fact that he's still, even in this positive position, still practicing, still trying to get better, tells you a lot about where his mentality is at as a champion. The goal doesn't get through, blocked by Luigi once again. Something I actually have been noticing with his team here, right? And I didn't think about it until now. In Season 1 of the Umzansi Esports League, this was back before we were playing with Ultimate Team. We just played with the regular teams that are available. A lot of the players at the time, especially in FIFA 21, would opt for picking France, right? Because that team was actually busted in the game. And one of the reasons it was busted, okay, is this a goal, Nedved? Nah, it's fine. One of the reasons France was so busted was because of the dual presence of both Paul Pogba and N'Golo Kante on the team, basically making it impossible to progress in either direction in midfield, right? And we've seen him utilize both in his team here. He's got Pogba, he's got N'Golo Kante, and he has so much more coverage of the midfield than what we've seen Mobizilla be able to do. I mean, even thinking about the passing lanes that we often see him exploiting. When was the last time we saw Mobi find that deep pocket of space that he could run
look
into?
At that lob ball in over here. He's got a bit of an option to work with, but he's dragging it back into Mbappe. Takes a shot at nothing. As the ball's dispossessed, but it's back into his feet, and now to Neymar!
Guaranteed goal.
There's the goal. There it is.
Oof. That's 10.
And I mean, yeah, and I mean, like, with Pogba and Kante, like you're saying, it's not just them being able to track back and hold the middle field, you know, defensively. They playmakers, right? You know what I'm talking about. They will make those plays for the team. They'll find these lanes that we're looking at that we can't quite see, but they can see. Is Kante, you know, speak of the devil right now. Bit of a weird pass coming in from Masoom. Maybe he saw something Reed didn't, but it didn't really work for him. He's still in possession of the ball, still working it out. Days Pogba onto Mbappe. Opening up some channels here for some players to work through. But I mean, yeah, game's pretty much settled, dusted. Yeah. And that one goal that Mobi scored, though, was really good. You know, it was a good build-up play. You know, we saw a lot of thinking coming out of that one. He broke down the defense quite well. Neymar.
It is only a game, Masoom. Masoom.
Only a game.
It's only game. Relax. Calm down. Please chill. You know, you don't win the game harder with more goals. I mean, you kind of do in the tournament, but you know, you gotta allow your opponent to still breathe. This villainous arc this was a bit much. Wow. Okay, so I was underrating Masoom coming into this one. I was underrating.
We were all underrating,
you know?
him. Don't even like. My prediction was like what 5-3. I didn't even happen anywhere close.
Little did we know that the Iceman would become Omni-Man today. Just too good.
Listen, guys. I have nothing to say. I really don't. I just want to say big thank you to both of you guys for doing an amazing job casting this super match that we just watched. A super drubbing. Ladies and gentlemen, it is Masoom taking this one 11-1.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Ouch.
That's a lot. That is a lot.
Imagine you could bet on this game and you're like, yeah, today Masoom's gonna do something mad and this actually happens. You'd be walking away so happy. I mean, none of us could even see it happen. Like, what's the forecast on this one? Like,
this is a hard pill to swallow. I'm not even gonna. Let's
for me as well.
At the leaderboard.
Oof. So now, as a result of this,
quickly, let's take a look at this.
See now Masoom at the top of the leaderboard, 7 points for himself, 12 goal difference. And the sad thing about this is not just the 12 goal difference that he's gotten for himself. He's pushed the Beast out of first place. He's now taken over that slot. Of course, the Beast, Bianchi, does still have a game in hand over him. And the Beast is one of the few players that does actually have that game who's close by, right? Everybody else, Divac can maybe find himself winning his next game, but it's unlikely he'll get as big of a goal difference and also put himself in top spot. Unfortunately, because of this, look at Atibira. Dropped down very low. Mobi dropped down very low. Both of them. Mobi, honestly, because of the fact that he has secured a win for himself, at least he has points on the board. So he's not going to be occupying a relegation zone right now. But he certainly is going to be feeling in trouble, right? Any loss, he basically can never lose again. any kind of loss that he suffers, he's always going to be in a negative position, always going to be in that relegation battle zone. So both him and Ati, any more losses, and pretty much you got to start preparing for that relegation promotion battle at the end of the season with how hard you've been trapped right now by some former champions.
Well, nobody wants to be in that relegation battle. We're hoping that the best, we do know that the best of the best will make it through to the next round. But right now, I want to say big thank you to Thendo and Snare for doing such an amazing job on covering 4 amazing matches and 2 amazing games. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Dr. Sid. We have to take a break and come back with a PUBG Mobile segment. This has been FIFA 22 on the Umzansi Esports League Season 4, brought to you, of course, by Nodwin Gaming. And I will see you after this break. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Umzansi Esports League. This is season 4, and we are here, myself, Dr. Seed, Pachi, and of course, S-Proxy, and we're here to give you some PUBG Mobile action. But first of all, before we talk too much, take a look at the schedule.
We're jumping into it quick today. Jumping into that spicy schedule as it always is, and I don't think we have to explain what the schedule is, but just in case you don't know what it is for whatever reason, it is Erangel, it is Sanhok, it is Miramar. We've got 3 really great, solid, robust maps that are going to take these teams through the motions, put them to the test, set them on fire and see how well they can roll around on the ground. And yeah, other than that, I'm quite keen to see what the teams have in store for us, because yesterday we had some interesting things happening. Things were getting, I don't know, I think they were getting turned up a little bit quicker than we usually see. Round 1, things started out a little bit slowly, but round 2 has started to pick up the pace, which is great. Of course, there is a reason that pace is picking up, as we're getting closer and closer to that final, with a prize pool of $15,000 can be won for this PUBG Mobile segment. So these teams have no choice but to take it seriously now, because, well, they can't be mucking about, let me tell you what.
Not at all.
And ladies and gentlemen, because that prize pool is looking kind of nice, the leaderboard is looking like this right now. S-Proxy, tell us what we're seeing on the leaderboard.
Oh, I mean, Influence Rage Africa. Okay, I need to understand here. If the team can just give me some information as to why they decided that in the first week of the semifinals they were going to come outside of the absolute door that they were hiding in and just absolutely smash the competition, already sitting at 106 points, the first team to pick up those triple digits in our first semifinals of season 4. And so far it's been a really convincing performance from them. You can see 51 kills thus far. So they're really gunning for those points, and I like it because they're staying active. Lag Esports also, the second highest kill points, it's actually the third highest, because Rainbow Six Madagascar comes through with 55, which is currently the highest, and that's basically how they've been picking up as many points as they possibly can. Those placements not really pulling through, but they're doing pretty well. And of course, the beautiful team there from South Africa, D3 Temper, still waiting for a little bit more from them. And today, I mean, with the groups that we're going to be having, Slime 4KT will be involved. So again, that question that we're going to be posing is today the day that they're going to bring it all? Are they going to put everything on the line? They're going to show us what they really have to offer and surprise some of the other teams? But you can see, I mean, 9th and 10th place so far, tied with 71 points. That's just how close that these games have been. I mean, we've only had 1 week of semifinals so far. Obviously, now we're on to the second day of the second week of the semifinals. So, the games are starting to pile up, but it is still so close. I mean, so these top 16 teams right now, they're sitting in a good place. They're sitting in a pretty safe spot to go through to the finals. This page right here is where the pressure, the heat is on, because these teams do not want to be here by the end of the semifinals, or else they will not be moving on to our finals. They will not be moving on to, that cash dollar prizes. They're not going to be moving on to those positions. So they want to make sure they get out of this page as soon as humanly possible. Now, whether or not that's going to be possible for some of them, it's going to come down to how consistent they stay. So far, we've seen a lot of teams jumping out, doing really well, and then unfortunately the next day or the next game even, they just don't show that same performance level. So hopefully these teams will really be putting some pressure on themselves to focus on that beautiful balance we talk about, placement and kill points. As you can see, the point structure on your screens right now really comes down to how these teams manage both sides. You can be active, get lots of kills, but not get any placements. You can get lots of placement points, but not get any kills. And then a team that has that balance will outrun both of those scenarios. So hopefully these teams have been putting in the work, and we will be seeing a little bit more balance today.
Balance is something that we definitely clamor for, but sometimes we want an unbalanced setting so that someone can just come and just destroy and scatter the place and shake all these tables. Now, let's take a look at some of the players that have been outstanding in this semi-final stage so far, and these are definitely the kill leaders, or what we like to call some MVPs, if you know what I'm saying. Pachi, who are these guys?
Well, I mean, we know who these guys are. You know who these guys are. But if you don't know who these guys are, let's run through them quickly. We're looking at Influence Rage, a team that is doing quite well so far. Sully being one of the spearheads of that team, 21 kills and 4,000 damage down by this man, just outpacing everyone right now. He's been going in and just dishing out that damage left and right. And of course, Rainbow Six sporting two of their players. We've got Prime and Purpose out here with 17 kills each. And of course, coming in there in our number 4 position for that kill leader, it's Lag. Coming in with Berserk, 15 kills, 2,800 points of damage there. And I mean, that is just for round 2, which has only been going for a little bit. So you can already tell that these guys are getting into the thick of things very, very quickly. Now, speaking of the thick of things, of course, Group B squads that we've got on our hands today is going to be none other than G3 Temper, Zero Tolerance Skills, and BBC all coming in there in this group, as well as Team Unique, Rain from Healthfear, Sidemen, and Lag. I'm expecting that G3 will most likely continue to try and put a few good points on the board. I want to see something out of BBC, and I especially want to see something out of Team Unique. I think that team has a lot of potential to make some things happen here in the groups today. But speaking of the groups today, as you mentioned, as Proxy, in Group C, we have none other than 4KT, who definitely need to get things kicked into gear. I mean, we know that they're a team that doesn't mind, sitting down at the bottom of the leaderboards until they need to kick into gear. But with that being said, I still think that it would be nice to see them at least make sure that they're sitting comfortably, all the way up there on that first page where they don't have to worry about anything. I think that would take the pressure off quite a bit. But other than that, we know that they're a capable team. And whether it be them springing into action now or later is totally up to them. The other teams that I actually want to see performing here, Team Somalia and Solar Esports. Solar Esports sitting quite low at the moment, all the way towards the bottom. And I think they have the potential to do a lot better than that. And I'd really like to see them stepping it up and just getting some points here in the games today. I think they're more than capable of giving us quite a good show. In round number 1, they were really fantastic at pulling out some really good kills. So I do expect that we will hopefully, I'd like to see something coming out of them in the games today. Other teams like Sincerity and the Magicians also have an opportunity to keep themselves in this game, in this tournament, moving forward into what is eventually going to be the final rounds, which is, of course, where you want to make it at this point. You don't want to get left behind. You don't want to get relegated. You want to get those points in, and you want to get them in right now. Because if you get relegated, you're going to kick yourself in the head.
Especially at this point when you're so close to the prize pool. You don't want at this point in time to say you left anything on the table. Everybody has to give their all at this particular point in time. We have seen in past seasons where players like to leave it till the last minute to see exactly how many points they need before they decide to show up. But with the caliber of teams that we have in this particular selection of semi-finalists, I think that's going to be tough. Some teams like 4KT have an opportunity today to pretty much secure their presence in the finals and not leave anything to chance. So we are super excited. I think we're literally just about 60 seconds or 120 seconds away from getting into this this semi-final match today. But as Proxy, I want to ask you, please, those LED lights, can you ship them to Nigeria? Because I really like the way they're covered around the back of your bedroom there. But anyways, back to the most question. To the more serious question, who are you looking out for today that needs to sort of show up and put in some great numbers?
So, I mean, one of the teams that comes to mind is also the Magicians. I mean, coming through from Nicosia as well, I've been waiting to see that sort of fire that they've been capable of showing in the past. I mean, we've seen them do things in the past before as well. I just don't think they've had that good start to the semi-finals just yet. Of course, I'm looking at G3 Tip. Of course, I'm looking at BBC for Patchy, because we know BBC, that's Patchy's team. Patchy's team needs to come through today for Patchy. And of course, Slime 4KT. I don't know if it's their turn yet to come out swinging and absolutely just beaming, but hopefully we will see just a little bit of a glimmer of hope today when they're running their full squad, hopefully giving us as much as they possibly can. I just want to see the action. I want to see, again, some nice aggressive gameplay. I want to see the team staying active. I don't want to see them hiding. It's fine. You can be strategic next week. Not this week. Next week.
Yeah, but do we want them to be strategic next week? Because next week is sort of like the finals. Like we need them strategic now and then go ham next week so we can get all the action. Erangel is our everybody loves Erangel. Erangel's our go-to map. So Patrick, for you, we've seen, a wide range of gameplay. But I think this season we have seen a bit more aggression when it comes to players dropping kills just by looking at the MVPs and the kill leaders. We can tell that some people are really going ham to get those chicken parts, as I like to call them. For you, which one of these teams sort of stands out in that department of knowing that they need those numbers in terms of kill points and go out to get it?
Well, that's a very difficult question if we decide to isolate the actual stats that we have, because if we look at round one, then that's going to give us certain answers like, oh, look at G3, look at Rilla Insiders, look at 4KT, because they do really, really well. Look how great they are. Look at all the kills that they've gotten. I mean, even now, so if you look at round number one's performances, Solar Esports, they were clapping it with the kills. Sure, their placements weren't as good as some of the other teams, but they had so many kills that they were able to get themselves up into pages 1 and 2 and sort of hover there for the rest of the round. And they were quite capable. They demonstrated they were very capable of that. Now that we're in round two, it feels like it's been a little bit of a slow start in the beginning of round two. But as things have started to get on, I think the teams have begun to step up, especially the groups that we saw last week. Now, the groups for today and the groups for yesterday as well, yesterday we're picking up the pace in a big way. The groups for today, I think they have the potential to make that happen as well. We have some heavy hitters in this group, as per usual. The question is, will they actually step up? That's really the question that we have to ask.
Okay, well, let's see if the teams will step up. We are flying into Erangel right now, and I'm leaving in very capable hands of S-Proxy and Pachi as they talk you through all the action. I will see you guys after the map.
All right, there we go. Thank you so much, Dr. Sid, and ladies and gentlemen, everyone else. It is map number 1 here for the games of a Saturday, where we've got some spicy stuff ahead of us, hopefully, coming out of these teams. As we mentioned, it's important that they get stuff done now. It's not 100% important for them to win every single match. They don't have to flex or, give 100%, but they do need to do enough to make sure they get out of relegation. And I think that's going to be the big kicker for some of these teams that maybe didn't kick into high enough gear quick enough. I think our chosen teams will probably be safe. The teams that, we know can actually perform really well will most likely be safe. But I think we might actually have a couple of surprises, and there might be some teams that get a little bit disappointed when they eventually get relegated.
I mean, anyone would be disappointed at this point in time, especially when you've made it through to the semis. You won't necessarily be going to promotion relegation, because the first few teams that have unfortunately already been relegated have to face that little extra bit of trauma. A little bit of trauma there towards the end of finals. But as we look at it, firstly, I just want to say the zone is throwing a tantrum today, literally. Just gonna avoid the flight path completely.
That's so good.
What? You can't. The zone literally just went as far as it possibly could away from the flight path, basically telling all the teams, you know what? You thought I was going to be nice today? It's a Saturday. You thought I was going to be kind? No.
It would be nice to see the zone go into the water now. That would be great.
Patchy,
imagine a water final
Patchy.
zone.
Patchy, listen, if you want me to cast more PUBG Mobile with you, you stop this right now.
Come on!
I am very happy to step aside and let the rest of our amazing casters cast with you. I am not casting more water finals. No. It's been my trend for the last 2 to 3 weeks. Whatever PUBG Mobile game I'm casting, it ends up in the water. I am done. Finished. Anyway,
a man can dream.
As I calm down, drink my coffee, and just relax, when I talk about PUBG Mobile, when we talk about these teams coming through from Umzansi, now, yes, we're in the second week of the semi-finals. The first week was absolutely explosive. We had a lot of teams really stepping up to the plate that we didn't see in that first round of Season 4. Now, though, we're getting close to that middle point. We're getting close to, it's the second week. There's still 2 more weeks after this weekend of games. Still 6 more after this weekend. So yes, they have an opportunity, but like you said, if they did not lay that beautiful foundation, they are going to struggle. There's going to be a point where some of the teams that are leading so far ahead of everyone else are just going to be like, you know what? we don't have anything to lose at this point. We can literally just go and grief every single other team, make it virtually impossible for them to pick up the points that they need to. Because again, why do they need to stress? They're going to go through to the finals in any case. The final points are going to get reset, so they're not going to have to worry about that. So they can just have fun and really mess with the rest of the teams, which I've seen many a team do before in Battle Royale. So again, I urge anyone that may be listening to this, if you know the teams, pop them a message and tell them, listen, as Proxy said, I'm kidding, don't tell them that, but just understand, you need to put some good points down here. This is an opportunity for you with just a little bit more breathing room to really get some serious points on that leaderboard, which, as we know, gets very, very important towards the later stages of the semifinals. But so far, Patchy, we're talking about the zone here. Rotations. Rotations are going to be a fun one.
I mean, it's always interesting to see a zone head very far west, especially on a map like Erangel, where a lot of the time we have very center finishes. Sometimes it's northeast. A lot of the time, teams generally end up around maybe like Rozhok or Yasnaya. Sometimes it goes a little bit further south. When it comes to the western rotations, I think teams are maybe shifted slightly out of their comfort zone, especially when you have a team like, for instance, BBC, who always drop Milta. They're all the way on the other side of the map. Sometimes it's difficult to just figure out exactly what you have to do to actually get yourself into a western zone, especially when there are some teams that are very capable at making things difficult there on the western side. I've seen many times throughout the season and even the previous seasons where teams will find really good spots up on those mountains in the west, and they can do some really good damage from up there, just to basically everyone. And the third parties abound, basically, from those particular locations. So, I mean, rotating can become very difficult, even if a team like, for instance, Zero Tolerance or even G3, because they're actually well known for doing stuff like that. I mean, they could just race into the middle of the zone, set up on that mountain, and be like, all right, cool, now you just pray that we don't see you.
I mean, look, sometimes prayers are not going to be reaching the PUBG mobile devs, so they're not going to help you with that. So I think preparation definitely becomes key, but yeah, when you're down to your lost legs, your lost straights, then that's all you really have to work with. Yeah, when you look at these rotations coming through now, BBC right there towards Malta Power is going to have to unfortunately run through a few teams to make it in. And I mean, talking about a few teams running into each other, here is Fear nonetheless going right against the team here of Team Unique. So it's unfortunate because I don't see how either of these teams get out of this without dying. You can see here, Kay's going to be finding King just peeking out around the corner. Not going to be what you want to do just yet because we still have that zone coming in. We still have a little bit of time, but they need to be very careful. If they don't, we could see both of these teams unfortunately taking heavy losses right off of the bat. And as we know, those first three teams from 16th to 13th place, if they go down with 0 placement points. So if you haven't picked up a kill, which, I mean, listen, we're still in loot phase here. They haven't really had much time to do that. Then, unfortunately, you'll be taking home 0 points for the first match of today, which, as we know, is a little bit of a dampener for the mood, Patchy. You know, you're not starting off on your best foot, so your energy's a little bit low.
Yeah, it can also, you know, just really like set you back because you get taken out first or in those first 3 teams, and then you just feel demotivated, and then you just don't perform like you should or like you can. So hopefully the teams are in that positive mindset. You know, they've got that strength, that mental fortitude, and despite going out early, maybe they'll keep going. We'll see if that's even going to be the case here. Of course, Fear kind of boxed in. They're trying to see if they can pick out any of the rest of those unique players. One of them is down, and they are hunting for Azuri, who has been kind of separated here. The smokes are in as well, so that means the push can go through relatively successfully. Azuri just going to dip outside of that shack, but he's going to find the damage into Hulk. That's going to keep him alive a little bit longer. He runs straight face first into King. Luckily, Keish is there on the back line to try and support. Outcast coming in to try and do something, so the thirst at least comes through for King. They're going to have to find these last couple of straggling players here. Keish inside there with that DP, not willing to give up just yet. Sophia have to mount a bit of an attack here on this warehouse. They have to make sure that they don't falter because they have started a good assault, but if it goes bad here, it could be really terrible for them. They definitely don't want to lose out on this fight. They need to pick up the kills, but they definitely don't want to lose this.
Absolutely not. Like I said, heavy losses, it's not a good way to start off your game. But I mean, from both sides, Keisha, one of the only members alive, especially with Exist now going down. So at this point in time, Fear have just picked up 3 kills. They're going to be very happy to pick up the last one and send Unique packing to the lobby. And I mean, again, it's unfortunate for them because they're going to be going back to the lobby with 0 placement points and no kill points. There's just unfortunately nothing. But talking about the rest of the teams who may have found themselves in a similar situation, taking a fight a little bit too long, or maybe taking some losing phases a little bit too long, those rotations now have to come through. And BBC taking quite a far rotation there through the zone, this time not with the water, as I've known them to do. No boats this time around. They're just going to use those cars and get into zone as quick as possible, right on the heels there of Rain from Hell. So ooh, and Rain from Hell also running into another team. Okay, everyone just running into each other at this point in time. You can see there's just not a lot of space to work with here. And weirdly enough, you know, when you look at that side there from Quarry, no one really took that took that loot spot, took that, you know, POI, because the flight path said no. So there's going to be a lot of space, a lot of opportunities there for anyone that can make that rotation. But for the time being, unfortunately, everyone's going to be running into each other. I did see 1 or 2 teams drop at military base, Patchy. That's at least a good thing. It means, you know, that spot's being used a little bit more. See,
Oh,
you can,
nice.
you
Who
can
dropped
take some
in
credit.
military? I'm keeping it in my patchy notebook.
I believe it might have been Fear as we take a look at their rotation, and I saw another team, but I'm not sure where they went through. Don't think it was BBC though. I'll have to go look back at the video so we can award Patchy points accordingly.
All right, well, with that going on, I do see that the Magicians have actually taken residence on top of the aforementioned hill that I was talking about a little bit earlier. The teams are rolling up into the zone as well, and they're getting all nice and close and comfortable, which is great. Some teams having to drive past basically one another in very close proximity, just thanks to that flight path versus the actual zone drop. Once again, not a very kind one, but hey, you know, maybe we're not looking for kind zones here. We want these teams to be tested. We want them to be really thrown in the fire to see what it is that they're made of. You know, purified by flames, as it were. And we'll see if they can. We'll see if they can survive and get through.
No, sorry, continue. Go for
Oh
it.
yeah, you've got to find the you know, the fine metals in the rock. Proxy, you've got to really get in there. You've got to smash the rocks open. You've got to set them
Okay.
all on fire so they melt, and you can make the you know, silver into jewelry. That's how it works.
We're not playing Minecraft here.
Wait, what?
Minecraft? What?
I'm in the wrong place.
This is not what Patchy signed up for, but as we look at it, still many teams rolling on into that zone and going to be rolling on into each other. And yeah, look, it is fun for us to watch because it does put these teams under a lot of pressure that they have to now perform. They have to now think a little bit more strategically about how they're going to take those rotations. And what happens when they roll up into like 4 other teams busy taking a fight or 2, you know, completely holding whatever buildings are left? Makes it interesting. It really does make it interesting. As we look at it, oh, so Zero Tolerance still holding there towards the top line. I do see ATROX actually rotating on in a little bit spread out. Pika still on the back line there, but will be coming through. And Solo actually right next to Team Somalia there towards Rozok. So a few teams shoulder to shoulder at the time, but they still have quite a bit of space. It's going to be interesting though to see where that next zone pulls, because as we mentioned, there are a few gaps. And unfortunately, if it's going to be pulling to one of the only gaps left, a lot of teams will potentially fall as they try and take those rotations, especially with so many teams holding these beautiful positions. As we can tune into Magicians here, just holding the line. Again, that high ground discussion that we've had before, you know, you can see so much more. You can hold down a larger sector and really get quite a bit of information, potentially pick up a kill or 2 as people are rotating through. So for now, we're going to see that zone close up, and wow, it looks like it's in favor of Magicians. Slime 4KT and Zero Tolerance. ATROX also and Sincerity actually just got into that one. So they'll be able to set themselves up quite early on. Hopefully get ready for some rotations coming in and pick up some kills as everyone is going to scramble to find themselves a spot.
This is going to be quite interesting because, you know, first of all, it just goes to show you how beneficial it can be to sit in the middle of that zone, because now they've been safe for at least 2 or 3 zones, so that's very, very useful. But now, look at the amount of teams that are all streaming past ruins to try and get into the zone. It is going to be utter chaos. And the team that is currently sitting on that mountain is going to be the one who benefits from that, because they can just take the pot shots, the third parties. They can pick up the stragglers, clean up the breeze of all the battles that are, definitely going to start taking place, because you can see as the teams stream in, they meet heavy resistance and realize they have to go somewhere, and they either go up or they go down, north or south of the mountain. You can see G3 has decided to go south of the mountain. They're moving around, but I don't know if they're going to push up, because they realize how much of a difficult situation is currently in there. They might just want to go around. Flecko is definitely taking a bit of a road trip there, all the way up in towards 4KT, it looks like. Zero tolerance up in the north, so they're nice and by themselves. Going to be super useful, but there's so many teams streaming in now. I mean, the fights, they're definitely going to start breaking out any moment now. I mean, the tension is going to be rising really, really high, just because of the fact that that mountain takes up so much space, and there is someone sitting on top of it. So already, the amount of actual usable space is quite limited.
I am interested to see what Magicians will be doing with that, because if they can literally hold down that entire mountain, I mean, that is a large portion of real estate that, unfortunately, the rest of the teams are just going to have to give up. And again, controlling such a sector of space, controlling so much information as well, really becomes beneficial to any sort of team who is able to take control of that. Tuning into ATROX here, just surrounded by some Sincerity members here looking to pick a fight, but it will be a little bit of a difficult one because the approach is in open field. So I mean, for the time being, I think Sincerity might just be holding onto whatever space they have. Team Somalia taking quite a long rotation. Hana just sticking to the edge of the zone. They really are avoiding as many people as possible, and Sincerity, they're taking a knock. Looks like we might see a few other teams picking on up the slack. Oh, look at this. Sincerity now a little bit sandwiched here. A little bit sandwiched here, Patchy.
Just a little bit. We'll see if they're going to enjoy the sandwich, or if they're going to get eaten. I don't know. I was trying to go with the metaphor there.
Where are you gonna go with that one?
Yeah, I don't know. It was like, what else do you do with sandwiches? You eat them, or you throw them away when they get moldy. I don't really know how to develop that particular metaphor. So we'll leave that there. We'll just set it aside for now. Then we got Sincerity here. They're behind some rocks. They're behind a little bit of cover. They're currently pinned in between two teams on opposite ends. There we go. We've got the Sidemen here in the compound. Sincerity do decide to rotate out of the situation. It's a good decision for the time being. You can see that Blue Zone has decided to start moving up as it does. The space even more limited, but still allowing the Magicians to take residence on top of that mountain. We've got Rain from Hell who are currently pushing up there in towards the Magician, so we could potentially see some fights over in that direction. Here we've got Sincerity moving straight towards 4KT, so this could potentially be a disaster for them, or maybe for 4KT, depending on who actually gets on the top end of this fight. But that's a lot of damage right in the back. Rogue gets taken down almost immediately as they try and get into the warehouse, and now they have to deal with quite a bit of pressure in this particular situation. You can see those HP bars are so low right now. That is not the position you want to be in when standing straight in front of 4KT. Really going to have to get in there ASAP. Oh, that's so much damage. These guys just do not relent. Look how quick they are to just push straight to the side and do the damage one by one by one. Sincerity struggling, fumbling to get into the warehouse and just unable to make it to safety in time. And well, you can see the result of that. Willie has managed to make it in, but is it going to be quick enough? Because now the Sidemen are rolling up, and zero tolerance is even here for the third parties potentially. So this could turn out to be disastrous for just about everyone who's currently inside. And there's the Thirst Slime for KT. Will just pick up and just clean Sincerity out from start to finish. They didn't even get a chance to breathe, and now they're going to turn their sights on towards the Sidemen, who are currently stacked up here in the crates.
Yeah, with Team Somalia, unfortunately, going out there, I'm not sure what happened, but Hanad has fallen out of a vehicle, unfortunately. So we are now down to those 12 teams, which means the next teams that are going to be dropping at least will pick up a few placement points. But as we know, that's not good enough. That is not good enough. Now, the Sidemen moving on in here to try and get a piece of the action here with Slime 4KT might be finding themselves in a little bit of a sandwich with zero tolerance getting involved. You can see Hates already making a flank, trying to get a better angle, trying to find some sort of a knock here or there, or at least some sort of information. Now, I mean, unfortunately here for Sidemen, they are sandwiched. They are literally cornered every single corner. Oh, Nate, Nate's talking about corners. Sleepy's going to be finding a nade there on the corner, going down, and now Slime for KT. They have an opportunity here to push on in and take out Sidemen before they turn their attentions to zero tolerance. Just trying to find that angle, as we know, trying to navigate the maze that is the containers. I mean, at this point, I do not know what to do. If you were in the situation, Patchy, it's Matrix, it's Sad Boy now to try and hold on for the dream here for Sideman, but comes Slimeball KT just making sure that they can take out anyone and everyone here. Sad Boy trying to get that first aid kit now, but Nade's still rolling on in. I don't see a way out of this. It's only Sad Boy now, and he's literally surrounded. Every single corner, wherever you go, there's nothing.
Yeah, I mean there is
It's
smoke.
horrible.
At least he's got that.
Hates is behind him. Slime for KT is in front of them. If they try to take the rotation out with the car, they've literally got 2 teams shooting at them.
You know what? Sad Boy is going to drink his Superman juice right now. He's going to get laser beam vision. He's going to melt every single team in his sight, and he's just going to instantly win this entire match.
I mean, he's popping some energy drinks right now.
Yeah,
As
it's
an
going to
opportunity?
happen. It's going to happen. I'm a clairvoyant. I'm telling you. This is how it's going to go.
I don't know what energy drinks we were working with today, but trying to get that sprint speed up as far as possible, maybe? No. You said it.
Yeah. Look, it had to happen. Listen, if I had said that he was doomed, then people would just be like, "Oh, Patchy, why are you caster cursing it?" So I was being encouraging. I was like, "Yeah, let's go.
Aren't we still caster cursing?
Yes. Hey, listen. Yesterday was caster blessing.
Not intentionally.
So it was like way better. We were actually giving out the blessings instead of the curses, but looks like the curses are back. In any case, we've got the magicians packed up here, still on the mountain, which still happens to be inside the zone, but they are getting pressured by Rain from Hell, who are moving in. The of course line has moved slightly up that mountain. Solo are here as well. We've got ATROX just down at the foot of that mountain. Slime is still taking their fight here against what looks like BBC. Zero Tolerance up in the distance, moving in as well. So look at the ants climbing up this mountain right now. There's a bunch of them. They are just absolutely everywhere. Aatrox trying to defend their position here in the crevices. And then, of course, Rain from Hell pushing up the side in towards Magician. So you've got literally the entirety of this mountain covered. Every single side has some team sitting on it, and it's just going to be a fight all over the show. Legacy almost getting taken out from the side as he tries to take a fight. The third parties are absolutely rife, and everyone is just feeling the heat as they try and fight for this very small zone. We've finally been reduced down to 10 teams and 31 players as G3 are also getting taken down by Aatrox.
And we have to keep in mind that Magicians were the first team on this hill. They were the first team to take control of this, but unfortunately, as you mentioned, like ants up into a hill, everyone is flocking in to try and find a space, trying to find a crevice just to hide in, to get themselves a little bit more space and time. Down to the last 9 teams alive, and Lag looking for absolutely anything and everything, trying to find some sort of an angle here, but they have to be careful about the back line, because there are plenty teams that are looking for the exact same thing. Zero Tolerance being one of them, finding one, now looking for the rest, but Fantasy able to get a thirst, just has to be careful there for Vortex, and actually is, when we look at it now. Lag still on to something here. 3 members alive, still able to hold on to this one, going to be making it to the top 8 teams left alive somehow, some way. Magicians have managed to recover just a little bit, only down to 3 members, unfortunately. Rain from Hell down to 2. The rest now flocking on in, trying to find some sort of an angle here, and I mean, again, it's like birds to the prey. Everyone just looking for some sort of spot, and there it is. That zone now shifting away from everyone that has been fighting tooth and nail to find themselves on top of this hill, Patchy. Now those rotations once again have to come through, and I don't even know how you do this, because you're literally going to be running into the open. Lord, going to be finding Aatrox doing exactly just that, and everyone's going to be doing the exact same thing. It's crossfires after crossfires after crossfires.
Yeah, it is that. I mean, that happens so many times. It's too many times to count. Usually it doesn't happen on this particular map so much. Usually it's more on Sanhok. But I mean, now we've got ourselves a zone where it is absolutely rife. It is everywhere. It is the name of the game at this point. It's sort of run and hide, use the rocks, crossfire, and don't die, I guess, is the best way you could sort of describe that. Try your best not to die, because most of the time it's kind of unavoidable. I mean, if you're taking a fight with one team, it's difficult enough. If you're taking a fight with two, I mean, that's even more difficult. But if you're out here taking a fight 2 or 3 teams ahead of you, and there's still a team right behind you just pot-shotting into your back, I mean, what are you going to do? Legacy taking a fight on top of a rock, but he's not able to win the fight. There's just too many bullets, too many players just pushing him, and too much pressure to try and handle that. All Rids now just throwing himself down the mountain bit by bit to try and move forward, try and get closer to that zone. He does spot Berserk out and go for that kill. He does pick that up at least, but I mean, look at this. Everyone is here scrambling for that zone, and they're just trying to make it across that line, just trying to get into safety. And it just is a toss-up on who is actually going to be able to make it. We can see BBC all huddled up, solo, trying to run down the mountain. Everyone is just trying to get in there. Look at this. Somebody is sitting in the smoke, and I don't even know if Diags actually knows that this is happening.
Look to your right,
He's
look to your
almost
right,
getting
look to your
caught out.
right.
I don't think they've seen each other. They're just standing there. They didn't do anything in there. Finally, he gets spotted out. Soho is just sitting like a sneaky snake in that smoke and instantly getting that kill. And now up they come. Lag Esports just continuing to try and take the Magicians down, as they also have to start worrying about everyone else as well. BBC still alive here, juicing themselves up at the tree line. 5 teams remaining, and the struggle down the mountain has been a treacherous one indeed.
It really has. I mean, Lag somehow, someway have found themselves within that zone first, and so for the time being, they're sitting. But now everyone on that edge, everyone very, very close to finding some sort of safe haven. Of course, that zone going to be closing up with 6 layers deep. No one wants to be caught outside of the safe zone. So, as we look at it, 4 teams alive, only 8 players split between those 4. BT ATROX, of course, down to only 1. Infinity actually in this one still. I mean, I'm impressed. You know, Infinity wasn't a team that we were looking at, but they have somehow, some way, found themselves in an opportunity here, and once again in the zone. The zone's actually just been pulling to Infinity AF just completely. It's got its favorites tonight apparently. BBC as well, still in this one. Aatrox, Lag now to make that rotation on in, and as you can see, I mean, both Infinity, both BBC, they know the teams are running from this mountain. They know the teams still have to rotate on in. So all that they need to do, watch their backs and just wait for everyone to trickle down the mountain as they're trying to find some sort of safety here. Aatrox, though, have picked up 5 team kills, making it as well into 4th place. It would be great if they can, you know, somehow snake it out onto 3rd, maybe even 2nd. But to do that, they need to find some sort of safety into the zone. Lag as well, a little bit split up here. Fantasy still on the ridge line. Safwan making it down there. Has found at least 1 tree. 1 tree to work with here. But still a long flank indeed. Potentially, maybe get behind Infinity AF here, Patchy. Play it low. Play it slow. Aatrox going out there in 4th place. Down to the 3 teams.
Yeah, maybe. Play it low, play it slow, play it fast, play it high. Who knows? You know, just do whatever. It's up to you at this point. BBC on the one side, we've got Lag Esports on the other, and of course we have the Infinity AF, who have managed to capitalize on this chaotic situation. Fantasy getting gunned down there by BBC. Kratos and Lord is still here on the sideline, making sure that they're not taken down just yet. But this is about to turn into a bit of a tough firefight for Infinity, because Safwan is still alive. He's tossing mollies. He's getting nades going over. And Infinity, oh, man, they trying to get rooted out here. They need to make sure that they do not get caught away from this one. Safwan, he peeks his head out and just gets instantly decapitated by Kato there. Some nice reactions, very, very quick. And now it's down to Kratos and Lord to try and 2v3. But certainly they're not out of the ballpark. Infinity still have to cover this distance. It's not going to be an easy win. They have to close this out quickly. They have to close this out smartly. Otherwise, BBC might just be able to dismantle this. You can see Amo and Dizzy are also quite low on HP, so those might be easy pickups if they expose themselves. BBC just need to land those shots. Can they be accurate enough? Kato slowly crawling forward, trying to get a good vantage point, trying to get a spot. If he can spot out one of those 2 BBC players, it should be good to go. If they nail one, it's basically done and dusted. I don't think BBC are in the position to be able to 1v3. So if they manage to find just one of those BBC players, it should be enough. who is going to go down, though. That is the question. Can Kratos and Lord spot somebody out from the Infinity AF, or is the Infinity AF going to be able to close this out like they should be able to do? Kratos dodging back and forth behind that cover, looking for an opportunity, looking for an opening. Lord crawling forward, but he gets spotted out. That should be it. Up they come, Infinity. No, they can step the foot on the gas now. It's just Kratos. It's a 1v3. This should be easy to take down. And indeed, it is. They pick up that chicken dinner, seemingly out of nowhere.
Seemingly, but I mean, looking at the zone, the way that it was pulling, they were just in the perfect position. Really, really, I don't know how that they managed to either predict that or if the stars were aligned for them tonight. But the zone really, really came in clutch for them, you know, towards the end there. But they still had to put in the work there. They were sandwiched. They were absolutely surrounded. Managed to pick up some decent kills. I mean, running home with 6, BBC doing a really good job. They're running home with 9, and Lag as well, and ATROX. When I looked at it, really just such active teams today. They're going to be picking up some beautiful points for the leaderboard, and of course, as we know, it's just about climbing further and further up that leaderboard.
Climbing further and further up the leaderboard is what is expected, ladies and gentlemen. We just saw an amazing game right there. Patchy, please, what was your highlight of that particular match?
Well, it was a little bit of a strange one in terms of we had some really interesting dashes down the mountain. I think that was probably my highlight, just watching all the teams sort of cascading down, trying to fight down this rugged, rocky mountain. It's almost like, you know, a bunch of like hardened veterans, you know, with their guns and huge backpacks, you know, they're climbing a mountain, like tracking all the way to the top, and they get there and suddenly, you know, like this giant gas cloud of death is behind them, and they're all like scrambling down frantically trying to survive, and everyone's shooting at each other. It's just chaos. That's great. I love that. That was quite fun.
You know, sometimes you're so descriptive with your analogies. It's so amazing to watch. Now, we've just seen the game happen. Very soon, we're going to be taking a look at the standings that will explain what just happened and sort of seeing what happens to the teams and how they will be affected in the overall leaderboard. So we're waiting on those standings. We'll see get those standings. We'll take a look at them. But in the meantime, Esportsy, who disappointed you in this particular match?
Ouch. Okay. Look, again, unfortunately, Slime 4KT just towards the end there, I think that I don't know how they fell off. I think it was the rotation coming through, maybe taking that fight a little bit too long there with Sidemen, but yeah, I did want to see a little bit more from them. Zero Tolerance also did pretty well to get into those final spots. They managed to find themselves an angle or something, and then just fell off again. So I mean, there's a few teams there that I'm looking at, and I'm waiting for them to come through. Rain from Hell, I don't know what happened, but I saw a few players dropping off of the mountain. And Team Somalia, I don't know what happened at all, because we saw her nod alone and afraid, trying to rotate into the zone, and then just out of the vehicle we went. But the other team from Somalia, Infinity AF, of course, picking up some beautiful points, 21 tied with BBC. So they're going to be pretty happy. Patchy.
Yeah. I mean, it's good to see BBC can still put those points up there. You know, we know they're capable of doing so, and you know, getting themselves up into that second place, and then of course pocketing a decent 9 kills is definitely going to be enough to keep them moving up that leaderboard, which is very necessary for them, because I think they were actually on the last page last we checked. So they're going to be making their way up. They're going to be moving up, which is great to see. I do expect them to continue doing that, because I'd love to see BBC in the finals. With that said, though, I think I'm definitely right with you there when it comes to teams like Team Somalia, G3, Rain from Hell. You know, where are those points? Where are those points? We need those points to come out. Now, I mean, once again, this comes back to the argument of, is it necessary for them to put the points on? I mean, it's kind of yes and no in a sense. Like, they need to make sure that they're just above that line in terms of they don't get relegated, right? Now, is there a chance that they're going to be relegated? Probably not. But it's better to be safe than sorry, you know, just kind of sporadic back and forth, you know, give us a couple of points here and there. So I am expecting them to put a few more points on the board, at least today, because 1 point is definitely not enough. That's not sufficient. That's kind of basically negligible in terms of what you can actually get moving up that leaderboard. So of course the BBC will be supporting that MVP. It's going to be Lord, 6 kills, 982 points of damage done in one single match here. I mean, that's almost a third of the overall kill leaders, some of those kill leaders that we saw before the matches. So that's quite a considerable amount of damage there from Lord for his team here in game number 1.
So Lord definitely putting up the kills, and we are excited about that. So we're going to be waiting for the next map, which is going to give us more points, more action, and definitely taking us closer to that overall leaderboard. So ladies and gentlemen, it is still the Umzansi Esports League Season 4, brought to you by Northern Gaming. This is the PUBG Mobile segment. I'm here, Dr. Sid, with DK. Oh, wow, with Patchy and S-Proxy. And yeah, don't even say that. We'll see you right after this break.
Where's DK?
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Umzansi Esports League. This is season 4, brought to you, of course, by none other than Nodwin Gaming. We have just witnessed some amazing PUBG Mobile action in Game 1 on Erangel, and we're heading into our second map. But before we do that, let's take a quick peek back at the standings of Game 4, Group B versus Group C. Pachi, take it away.
Yeah, well, we had a little bit of a sneaky upcoming there of Infinity AF, maybe not expecting the team to take some chickens here today, but they have proven us wrong, and they say, yeah, we're here too, and we're ready to take those chickens, and they did. Followed pretty much on par by BBC here, who've done a pretty good job of picking up quite a considerable amount of kills to supplement their second place finish, so they're also going to be ending on 21. So that's great to see. Nice to see Solo Esports in the double digits as well. Slime 4KT just beneath them, and the Magicians and Zero Tolerance also picking up a couple of kills at least and some points for this game. As the same cannot, however, be said for some other teams in that game. They were not able to find what they were looking for, but we still have 2 games left for them. Of course, Fear Rain from Hellside and G3, Team Unique, they're not really able to pick up what they were looking for, and Team Somalia as well. As Proxy mentioned that one, and so we're going to keep our eye and see if maybe we'll get some points on the board. We still have 2 games, like I mentioned, one of them being Sanhok, which is going to be the upcoming match. Nice and close quarters. Yesterday, I believe it was, we saw some very, very crazy stuff here on this map. Teams were really revving it up and getting going. I'm not too sure if we're going to be seeing the same thing, because this grouping seems to be a little bit more calm and reserved, unless they're, trundling down the side of a mountain. But otherwise, we might just have a bit of a slow start again on this map.
Slow start be expected, but we are trotting along very, very quickly, very, very fast. We have to get into this game very quickly, because, as we say in Nigeria, Iletimo, night is coming. That means night has come. It is getting dark, and we have a lot to get through today. So, Sanhok, CQC, S-Proxy, what are you expecting from tonight?
I weirdly enough didn't expect so many teams to actually pick up that many kills on Erangel, so I'm thinking that some of the teams are really, really gunning for some active plays, gunning for some third parties if they can, of course, which we saw a lot of because of the zone rotation. So again, if that zone rotation does the exact same thing on Sanhok, none other than Sanhok, I think we will be seeing, unfortunately, a lot of teams dropping into those same sort of clusters, into the same sort of sandwiches. That no, we don't throw away sandwiches, Patchy. Unfortunately, you die or you eat the sandwich in this game. So hopefully we should be seeing some teams actually making the smarter play, getting those rotations in, getting a good position. But I think we will be seeing a lot of teams again falling short, with many teams looking for those kill points, as they need to. They need to pick up those kill points. They need to pick up those points and move up the leaderboard. So makes sense.
Okay. Now, moving up the ladder is obviously the goal right now, but some teams are just happy being above that 16 spot. But I'm gonna ask now, Apache, if you who would you rather be right now on this leaderboard? And if you were that person, what would your strategy be right now?
Who would I rather be? I'd rather be the team sitting right at the top of the leaderboard. My strategy would just be go and kill people as much as possible. Because,
Yep.
at this point, it doesn't really matter for them, because, we're at the top of the leaderboard. Like, that's basically where you want to be right now, because at this point, the question is always, we want to stay ahead of the 16th spot. We want to stay out of relegation. The question is, okay, let's say you're just outside of relegation. You're just barely outside of relegation. Are you safe? No, you're not safe. The teams below you are going to be coming for that spot, and the teams above you are going to be stomping on you to get down there. So you're not safe. You're never going to be safe unless you're at the top of that leaderboard. And even then, you're not guaranteed to stay there.
So being at the top is key. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are all fighting to be at the top of this particular leaderboard as we fly into Sanhok for one of my favorite maps in the entire PUBG mobile scene. Ladies and gentlemen, leaving you the very capable hands of Patchy and S-Proxy as they take you through the blow-by-blow action that is the Umzansi Esports League Season 4 semifinals.
Ooh. We end off with a spicy one there. A spicy intro from Dr. Sid. Thank you very much. We head in to Sanhok. We head into the CQC of map number 2. We have a very nice flight path that's quite generous considering what we had in the map number 1.
Just wait for it. So
Just wait for the zone.
Just wait for the zone before you say anything.
There
Yeah.
it is. There it is.
Yeah, you
up in the
you
top.
wanted to be nice, didn't you? You wanted to try to be nice. Look at it. Look what you've done. Look what you've done.
All right. Well, I'll never try and be nice again. How's that?
No caster blessings today. It's only caster curses. So let's just keep our mouths shut. We can do silent casting today. I don't think Nate's our producer would like that very much, but it's okay. It's okay. We'll try and not curse any of the teams that are fighting tooth and nail to climb that leaderboard. Only starting with 14 teams, unfortunately. So we just have to keep that in mind when you look at the placements. It might seem that we'll see a few more teams drop off a little bit sooner. Oh, ATROX, what happened? What happened? Why are we so low on HP? Just running for the hills at this point in time. Not sure if that was maybe a little bit of a parachute mishap, or if there might be a little bit of third partying already happening. Unfortunately, dropping into a spot, other teams picking up guns before you do. It's never a good time to be in. It's never a good time to be in. ATROX seeming a little bit split up here. Looks like the team of Solo Esports here have taken control, and they are just looking to get looted up as quickly as possible and get ready for some kills, get ready for the hunt. And the same could be said for many of the other teams here. I was actually surprised looking at that leaderboard again, you know, how many teams were picking up 5 kills, 6 kills, whatever it was. That is quite interesting. But I do want to see how that pans out on Sanhok, because normally we see, you know, a little bit of the equalizer coming through, but to see already such an even distribution of kills on Erangel, I don't know. Patchy, how do you think that's going to translate onto Sanhok?
Well, I mean, it says that the teams are at least capable enough of picking up the kills given the right situation. And what we saw in Erangel was a little bit of a scramble. It was a little bit frantic, and I think a lot of teams were able to capitalize on that fact. And that kind of goes back to, you know, the craziness, the hawk, and the days back of season 1, where it was a little bit chaotic sometimes. The teams didn't really get any action in the early to mid game phases, and I mean that was something we were really talking about in quite great depth, because you know it's very, very important in a game like this to utilize every stage of the game for something. You know, if you're ever idle, if you're ever doing nothing, then you're wasting time, and you can usually get overtaken by other teams around you. So that's something that the teams have learned, and you know, season by season, the teams have been getting very, very good at utilizing just about every moment they have. But sometimes you get stuck in these stalemates. Sometimes you get stuck in these positions where you can't really do anything. And when that happens, you know, it really does test your ability to actually read a situation and handle it correctly. And of course, that's why we sit here and you know, look at these situations, see, you know, what are some of the decisions that could potentially be made here. So I think the teams at least have shown that they're capable of capitalizing on certain scenarios. The real question is, can they actually create the scenarios that they can capitalize on? Because a lot of the time, that's what this game tests you about. It's not whether you can handle a situation, it's even about can you create that situation to be able to get it. Because I mean, for instance, some teams are really good at getting the kills. Other teams are really good at defending a compound, or you know, rotating around and keeping themselves light on the feet and not making themselves a target. You know, so each team has their own set of skills. Some are better at others, and being able to play to your strengths is an important part of actually managing the game. You know, if you're good at taking kills, but no one's giving them to you, then you need to force a team to trip up. You need to cut them off. You need to ambush them. You maybe just push them. Find something that you can create. Find a situation that you can make on the map somewhere to actually benefit yourself.
Welcome to Strategy with Patchy. We're going to be looking at Sanhok today as our example, and from what we can talk about, it does look like, yeah, making those final decisions and obviously choosing the right call, crucial in any sort of scenario. However, when you're thrown into a small, tiny map like Sanhok, you don't really always have that time to make those decisions. I think that's what happened for a lot of the teams towards the end, especially, as you mentioned, when they were frolicking down the mountain, not really with any choices. Some were falling, some were running, depending on how it went through. And a lot of unfortunate circumstances for many, many teams. I mean, Magicians, the first team that I think about, they were the first team to grab control of that mountain, but then everyone else had to do the exact same, and then they were just overpowered, overnumbered. And unfortunately, that just is how the cookie crumbles, because the zone decided to pull that way. I am interested to see if we're going to be seeing the exact same teams pull up those same sort of points. Infinity AF, one of the teams that we haven't really been talking about a lot, but they managed to actually take that winner chicken dinner, which again, definitely going to help them on that overall leaderboard. Whether or not that's going to happen again in Sanhok, I'm not sure. But we had the rise of Influence Rage Africa as well. We had the exact same question. Okay, well, you know, was it just a lucky first game, or is this the new Influence Rage Africa we've come to expect? And yeah, they're looking like they're going to be proving a point very, very shortly. Many of the teams still making a rotation. I do see Sorry making a very BBC like rotation there, so happy to see that one coming through. Team Unique taking a page out of Patchy's favorite book here, it seems.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is the manifestation, and I mean, I think BBC in past seasons was the manifestation of the epitome of how can we take the longest route to somewhere to avoid fights. That's a strategy. It's a strategy.
No,
you could say what you want about the long rotations. If you see that there's a situation where you can't really push past, there's like 3 or 4 teams in the area. I mean, how many times, in fact, have we seen teams get caught out on their rotation where they're trying to go through and then they just get nailed from across the map by a guy tracing them as they're flying with their vehicle? It's not going to work every time. Sometimes you will get shot out of your vehicle. And we've seen it time and time again where sometimes a team will be making that rotate. One of the players gets shot out and the team can't turn around to go pick them back up. So you lose one of your members while getting into the place where you want to go. And, sometimes you've just got to make the decision like, all right, we're not going to lose our members. We're going to take every single one of them. We're going to go the longest way around possible. We're going to get in a boat, go on the sea. No one's going to be here. We're going to fish for a little bit, wait for everyone to kill each other. And then we're just going to beach on the shore and, just sort this stuff out for ourselves. So it's a strategy, and BBC have perfected it in past seasons. They actually haven't been using it recently at all. And they've really come into their own in terms of being able to show us that they can fight, and it's been very, very impressive in terms of that. It's been really good to see them actually just getting in the ring with the big boys, and they were quite proficient at defending. So it's been good to see them sort of evolve, and that's kind of the enjoyment of watching a lot of these teams season after season. You can see them evolve and change, but that doesn't detract from the fact that long rotational strategy can be employed. Now, just because it's a strategy doesn't mean it needs to be employed every single time, but it definitely has its place.
Absolutely. And as we look at it, still 14 teams alive, so we haven't seen those team wipes coming through just yet. Everyone shoulder to shoulder so far, though, because that space that they have to work with is slowly but surely shrinking as we want it to be, because we want to, really see what these teams can do when they are on the edge, when they are forced to make some very difficult decisions here. Fear now a little bit perturbed here, because when they go down the hill, they're going to be running into zero tolerance. When they go to the right of the hill, they're going to be running into Slime 4KT. So, Patchy, who would you rather fight? The Slime 4KT or zero tolerance?
At this stage, maybe 4KT, but it's kind of difficult because 4KT are secretly, OP. Whether they're actually playing OP or not is a different question. If they're deciding to take a break, then sure, let's go 4KT. Just kill them, pick them apart, whatever. If they're not paying attention, you can take them down. But if they decide to pay attention, then it's going to be a difficult time. But the same is still true for zero tolerance. I think they've been a little bit more consistent in that they are still a difficult team to take down. I think their performance has also not been exactly where we expect it to be. So maybe it's the choice to just go at it. In any case, BBC going to move up solo. Not going to feel too good about that one. BBC moving up there. Bjorn on the other side of this mound over there in towards that compound. He's trying to see if he can spot out any of these BBC players, but certainly it might not be the best decision to try and go at this alone. You might just want to run away.
Look, sometimes that's the only strategy that you really can employ is let's not do that. Let's not do this.
Is that a side?
That is a Cybertruck.
Is that the
I was just about to ask the same question. Look, I knew it was coming into the game, but I think that's the first time I've actually seen it on a cast.
Nice.
I do love it. I think it's
that is the real battle vehicle right there.
Look, I love the McLarens. I love everything else, but
that's a great aesthetic.
Cybertruck.
This thing just looks like an absolute unit. Like, who
Monster.
wouldn't want to drive this thing in a
Absolute-
war zone?
Just leave. You see that? You run.
Yeah,
Just
you see like a
just
bunch
leave.
of dudes like packed in the back of a cyber truck with guns. Like he just like, all right, we'll
I'm
go the other
gone.
way.
I'm gone. I don't care. I don't care if we're top 2 or anything. I'm just leaving. I'm jumping off the map. I'm done. I'm not gonna fight someone coming at me in a cyber truck. That's it.
I wanna
I'm
see
sorry.
that-
You
I
can
wanna see
have
that
the
truck
winner
run
with
people
chicken dinner.
over.
Just don't hurt me, please.
Next thing you know, it's gonna start shooting laser beams out there or something.
But talking about Cybertrucks, BBC actually did make the call to instead pull up. They're not going to be fighting Solo. So Solo didn't have to worry about taking that rotation out of there. BBC did it for them. They're not going to be wasting any more time because, as we know, if you prolong any sort of fight on Sanhok, that just invites third parties. That just invites fourth parties. As we turn our attention here to Zero Tolerance, Magicians, and Sincerity. Now, Zero Tolerance under a little bit of pressure here from none other than the Magicians, who, as we know, unfortunately didn't have such a good game coming through there from Erangel because they were just outnumbered, just absolutely outnumbered. Lag also finding Slime 4KT. Now the conversations start turning a little bit of a fun one. Slime 4KT unfortunately going to be losing one member immediately as that confirmation comes through. Magicians now will be able to recover. Zero Tolerance, on the other hand, still have to get those raises, get that recovery, get those meds popped off. And Lag just picking up Slime 4KT. What is happening? 2 members now of Slime have dropped to Lag, who are looking for more, who are looking for the third.
I mean, like I said, if Lag is sleeping, I mean, if Slime 4KT is sleeping, I mean, you may as well just go and cut their throats while they're asleep. You know, it's like, what are they gonna do? And I guess getting picked apart like this is exactly what happens. And now you got G3 rolling up, none other than the scavengers of the game themselves. These guys are like the local raccoons, you know. They get out there, there's a huge fight in the alleyway, and then the raccoons come and pick up the pieces. They're like, hey, thanks for that. So that's G3 for you. They just come up and, but they're like extra vicious raccoons. You know, they got like really long teeth and claws, and they're kind of creepy. And if you see them in the wrong light, you might just think that they are an evil demon of the woods. And that's kind of what G3 is.
Why do you have this description on hand? What do we need to know?
Look, let's put the descriptions aside. We're not going to talk about the deep inner workings of my psyche, and instead we're going to focus on this game right here, this PUBG mobile game, where we still have 14 teams and 50 players left alive at the moment. We've got Lag, who have moved in here and picked up some considerable kills over towards Slime 4KT. They've still got 2 players up ahead of them, but they're looking for those kills. They're hungry for them. They do have to worry about G3 on the back line, though, but other than that, they're still good to go. UD now coming in for the fight, pushing up the side of the hill. Sof1 is quick on the draw, though. He will be able to take down 1, almost get 2, but ooh, the shot's coming through. That's just it's so much damage done. Sof1, this guy hasn't taken anything in return. He's just taking hit after hit. He's just putting them into G3, and Lag are winning successfully. Here comes the first, and G3 also fumbling a little bit. I mean, what is this first Slime and now G3? And it's all Lag.
I don't understand. I really don't understand. Because G3 Temp also now being the first team to drop out of Sanhok. I just have to remind you, Slime 4KT still have at least 1 member running around, which I believe is Zeus, still alive, still happy. Actually, they got the res there onto season. So Slime 4KT still has 2 members alive. Lag has picked up 6 kills. Onto G3 and Slime 4KT. Now running, of course, now needing to just sort of reset. They're in zone. One of the first teams to actually get quite a decent position there towards Paradise Resort in the zone, just sitting and waiting now, making sure that they reset themselves properly coming through for those final battles. Unfortunately, have lost Fantasy in the meantime. They're looking pretty gnarly. As we turn our attention there to Solo and, of course, Magicians continuing this fight. John going to be going out, and I believe that is the last member there of Solo going to be going out. So 12 teams remaining. The action is now beginning because many of these teams, as you can see, just so close to each other. The question is, who's going to be coming out on top? Who's going to be holding on to the line the best? We've seen Magicians before really finding the best possible spot that we saw. The zone literally pulled towards them, but then that final decision, that final moment when the zone just veered off center, that is really what hit them hard. And here, I don't know. Again, many of the teams, once again, back towards that right-hand side. If Berserk pulls once again, we might be seeing a different story. Safwan actually going down here. Zeus looking for a little bit of revenge. Season involved as well. Berserk in 1 now. Last 2 members remaining for Lag, and of course going against the 2 of Slime4 KT here, trying to hold the line. If they can continue their reign of terror, they could be picking up some serious points here. Not only taking out G3 Temper, but then also taking out Slime4 KT. That is not an achievement to scoff at.
I mean, I was just about to say basically the exact same thing. I mean, who thinks to themselves going into a game, you know what? Let me go ahead and fight 4KT and G3 back to back.
Why not?
Yeah, like the first thing I'm gonna do, the first teams that are gonna get taken out, I'm gonna go fight G3 and 4KT. That's what I'm gonna do. 4KT, yeah, let's take out half the squad. G3, yeah, let's just eliminate them from the match. You know, because why not? Now they're out for the rest of Slime4 KT. They're like, no, we want all of the kills here. We can't just have 2. We want all of them. So Berserk is here, and he might just get pushed by Zeus. Zeus is ready for it, potentially. He's trying to get it through the smoke, but not able to find anything just yet. Throws a molly. Here comes the rest of Lag for a little bit of assistance. Gets caught up. Berserk almost taken down, but he's sprinting. This man's booking it right in to that building. He doesn't get taken out just yet. He's bobbing and weaving outside of those bullets, dodging them a little bit. Oh, a nicely placed nade coming out from Zeus. That's going to dunk one of them at least. But is it going to be enough? That's the question. Lag not really able to go for that res, so basically Berserk just has to play this one as a 1v2 and try and win it out. Up they come now, pushing through to make the final assault on Lag and try and get a little bit of revenge for their team. But the shots from Berserk are absolutely flying down. Not too sure if one is still resable. Berserk is making the dash. It looks like he wants to do it. And if he gets it now, it could be doable. Zeus does go for the Molotov, but he might just be in safety. And it looks like he will be. So the res should be able to come through there. And it does indeed come through. So there it is. That's enough for Slime and Lag to keep going at it. Berserk does get the res through. Slime gets the res through. And now they can just go right back to fighting.
2v2. Just keep going. I don't know how they are able to drag this out without anyone jumping into the conversation here. A lot of teams also rotating on in. We see Rain from Hell unfortunately taking a little bit of damage. They're just around the corner there from Paradise Resort. They might actually be into Paradise. We'll see with those angles coming through shortly. And Sidemen might also get involved. But that zone did shift. And look at it now. All of these teams that are so shoulder to shoulder, so close to each other, have to all go right past and get into zone. Some nasty little nades being dropped there from Rain from Hell and Sophia. And now many players, unfortunately, feeling the brunt of the damage coming through. Vortex also picking up a little bit of damage here and looking for a bit more. We tune our attention. Ooh. This is going to be interesting because as soon as they finish this, they literally have to run into zone and they're going to have 2 teams right on their heels. We're looking at Fear right now, surrounded by every single one that they possibly could be. And with Hulks and Swagsies going out, that looks like Fear out for the count. Unfortunately, not going to be able to survive that one. ATROX just on the hill, looking down to Rain from Hell and Team Unique, who have to make their rotations in. And right now, Team Unique in a possible space here to actually gatekeep everyone coming in alongside BBC. So many teams, unfortunately, are going to have to fight their way into the zone. 11 teams left. ATROX, one of those teams that have to fight on in. Right from Hull, going to be taking one knock, and that might be an opportunity here for ATROX to just slip on by. Just go past. Just run. The zone hurts. 4 layers deep. It does a significant amount of damage now. So they cannot be wasting too much time here. I don't know what Rain from Hell doing. Neon's still in that house. Skullsy's now going to be surrounded by ATROX players. What's happening here? ATROX going to be dropping 1. Skullsy's still there. Pika going to be trying to go for the thirst. Going to be able to find the knock. We're going to see Neon's still just hiding. Just going to have to run for zone, I guess. But they're going to run straight into either Team Unique or BBC. What's happening? Why is BBC now going down? What?
This is what happens in Sanhok every single time, no matter how much these teams try and avoid it. They always get caught out in the blue. There's always fighting. There's always scrambling. Everyone is just caught out left, right, and center, and then they have to make the decision and say, "All right, if we're gonna be here, if we're gonna get engaged here, we may as well take the fight instead of trying to out heal." And that's a really tough decision to make, you know. And I mean, I applaud it. It's a really good decision, actually. You know, if you're going to try and make a dash and you know that there's teams next to you, 100% they're going to kill you and you lose. So just take the fight against them, maybe pick up some kills and hopefully succeed in that situation. And maybe you can jack some meds and, you know, get yourself into the zone again. But that's the tough decision that these teams have been forced into just because of the way this game works. And you know, if you don't really create the space, then you have to really manage what little you can manage. And now we see the result of that as these teams try and move into zone after zone. 9 teams remaining, 22 players here, and that zone is looking quite small.
I think that's an understatement. Also, look at what the teams actually have available within that zone to use for cover. Once again, Infinity AF going to be making quite a lovely rotation on in with all 4 of their members still alive. Right next to Slime4KT, right next to Lag, who are still facing off. They're still facing each other off. That is brilliant. Team Unique also now joining the conversation. 1 remaining player there from ATROX, still alive, still holding on to this one. Same can be said for BBC, who is still in zone, potentially just popping off some meds, trying to hold on to this one. Soho, though, might be looking at some dire straits there, and it will be taken out there by Team Unique. Now, Infinity, an ability for them to actually move on in. Sincerity as well, involved in the conversation with all 4 team members. These top 8 teams looking very interesting indeed. Infinity, Carter now actually picking up a knock there onto what I believe was Zeus, but a little bit of shots going back. Season trying desperately to hold on, but it's not going to be the case. Infinity AF will take out the remaining stragglers there of Slime4KT, who now unfortunately go out, and I believe it was either in 6th or 7th or 8th because more teams are dropping. The Hull has dropped as well. BBC are out. Oh, this is chaos now. So as we look at it, 16 remaining, 16 players alive. Many teams still needing to find themselves a spot within that zone. And look at that zone. Look at the space. Look at the real estate that they have to work with here, Patchy.
Yeah, I mean, despite it being small, at least they've got some hills, some rises, some trees and rocks. There's definitely stuff to use here to make the win, but the question is, can the teams actually utilize what they've got available to them? Sincerity is right here in front of us, and they've got some rocks and trees on the side of this rocky mountainous area. Then, of course, Infinity AF right up against Lag. Pato just pushing through, Exist looking for some shots, and he will find one. So there's a quick down on towards Berserk as well, but instantly the third parties come through from Zero Tolerance, and now Sorry has to try and get some revenge, but can he find? He finds one, but instantly Vortex is there to collect, and it's just a 1-for-1, and the third party shots just keep on flying. And right now, Sincerity look like they're in a really good spot. It's Infinity AF with the numbers, it's Sincerity with the numbers, and of course Unique low on HP look like they might just get taken out at any moment, and we might just have an Infinity AF versus Sincerity finish here in game number 2.
If Infinity AF pick up a second, I'm not even gonna say it. I'm not even gonna say it. I don't want to cast a curse anything. But Keish can be getting those meds popped off. Now looking for the res there onto Sorry. Infinity AF actually pushing up to try and get those confirmations as soon as possible. While Sincerity just biding their time, moving on into the zone as slowly as possible, trying to not attract any sort of attention. Infinity, they're picking up the last remaining members there of Team Unique. So exactly that. It's a 4v4. It is Sincerity up against Infinity AF, who are looking for more. Sincerity now with 2 kills. Would be great if they pick up these 4 and of course the chicken dinner, but we'll have to see how the cards play out. Aimbot going to be going down, and look at this push here from Infinity AF. They're quite split up, but they've got like a buddy system going on there on the top of the hill. Kato going to be feeling the brunt of the damage coming through. Unfortunately, Rogue Baby immediately taken on out. Easy now trying to hold the line here for Sincerity, but the angles are difficult to work with. Going to be finding one knock, but it's not going to be enough. Infinity AF, such a beautiful team coming through from Somalia, actually picking up their second winner chicken dinner.
Yeah, that's quite a good one coming out of them 2 in a row. That's going to be quite a few points. They're just going to be boosting themselves right up that leaderboard. And I mean, I guess that's the result of what's going on. I mean, that's kind of chaotic, and I'm very interested to see how map 3 is going to turn out based on the fact that yeah, I mean, map 1 was a scramble down a mountainside, map 2 was a scramble up and then down a mountainside, and now we
Up
have a
down, up
map
down, up down.
you know, lined up for us that is basically only mountainsides. So
It's all about the mountainsides. You can't ignore the mountainsides. And we do know that the next map coming up has a few mountainsides as well. So it might just be a mountainside kind of day. But ladies and gentlemen, as has a look on her face like, what?
I'm
What's
done.
that?
If it's not water, it's mountains.
Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, the action that comes from the Umzansi Esports League is second to none, as you just witnessed with Apache and S-Proxy. And let's take very quickly, when I look at teams like Sincerity Esports coming through and putting up the points that they did and getting the placement points that they did, what would you say about their strategy in this particular map, S-Proxy?
I think it was the exact same as Infinity AF. In all honesty, they were playing quite quietly. They weren't picking a fight with anyone until they really had to. You know, where it's different for Infinity AF, where they were actively looking for teams to pick apart, where they're actively looking for those final kill points. In addition to the winner chicken dinner, I think it's a very similar strategy, but positioning is absolutely key for both teams.
And look at the standings after Game 5, Group V versus Group C. Pachi, show.
oh, well, it's definitely been an interesting day. I think a lot of our placements here for these maps today have been on the fact that a team like Lag is able to take on G3 and 4KT consecutively and still win. And that's generally not something you see every day. Obviously, you know, they've decided to wake up a little bit late here. You know, 4KT and G3, they've decided to go to a party last night, and it was so late that they're all tired now, and they decided, oh, you know what, we're just going to chill. You know, we're going to zen out, it's fine. And so all the rest of the teams are like, okay, cool, it's time. We're just going to put the points on now. And so they've been allowed to just sprint up that leaderboard very, very swiftly. And of course, you can see the results of the inaction here. 2 points, 2 points, 3 points, 4 points. Not all that much getting picked up here. And of course, Team Somalia and Solo getting nothing, which again is kind of strange considering both Team Somalia and Solo Esports were doing fairly well in you know, the first round. So yeah, it's kind of sad to see them dropping off. Definitely don't want to see them go, but I guess it is what it is. And MVP going to be in the hands of the Infinity AF. It's Kato, 6 kills, 465 points of damage there. Total survival time of 23 minutes and 52 seconds there to take the MVP for Sanhok. We still have Miramar coming up after this, and like I said, I'm quite keen to see how that turns out because there have been some very interesting things happening in today's games.
Yes, and we look forward to more interesting stuff happening as we go to this break. Big shout out to Apache and S-Proxy. And my name is Dr. Sid. We'll be back with some more PUBG mobile action in just a second. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. The action is heating up as our teams are pushing closer and closer to the semifinals, to the finals. The semifinal rounds is going ham with Group B versus Group C, and we have seen two teams take some amazing points away. We're going straight into the standings right now, and Pat is going to talk us through what's been happening in Game 5.
Cool. Well, we've traveled from one side of the planet to the other, just in the form of Dr. Sid's accents over the past 2 days. So there we go. We're all the way back, and it's Infinity AF. As a quick reminder, getting that first place, 26 point there for themselves. Team Unique sporting second place. We've got Sincerity up in third, Zero Tolerance in four, Lag Esports in five. Those are all of the double digits getting picked up. They're nice to see Team Unique getting the points up and waiting for them to step up as well. Sincerity getting some nice points there. The Magicians also finding themselves on the first page, as well as BBC and Rain from Home, which is good to see. Lag, of course, have to have made it up there just based on the fact that they took on G3 and 4KT alone. So, hey, there it is. Of course, the aforementioned 4KT and G3 teams being on the second page here, picking up the scraps of the match. Tempo, of course, going away with nothing. 4KT picking up 3 points in total, which is both disappointing and also not super impactful. But, I mean, the argument just keeps going back to, do you take a break now? Is this really the time to sort of tune down, take your foot off the gas? I don't know. I feel like this is actually a really great opportunity to keep yourself, at least prepared. Maybe get in a bit of practice some new things, kind of flex your muscles a little bit in terms of just being able to stay in the zone. Because if you and your team are not going to be able to get back in zone when it's necessary, back into the groove of things, it's going to be really tough to get where you need to be. And I mean, we've seen that a couple of times where teams are really, really confident in their ability. And I mean, sure, they have some good reasons to be. And so they take a little bit of a back seat when it comes to the early phases. And then when the pressure mounts, maybe they're not having the best day, or maybe the pieces are not in the right place, and the factors aren't lining up, and they can't perform at maximum, when it comes down to the wire, and they get kicked out just because they weren't able to cross that line. They weren't able to get where they need to be. So it is very, very important actually to get things done as early as possible. I mean, for instance, if you're the first team to cross that 100-point mark in a round, you're basically good to go, because there's going to be a lot of teams that are not going to be able to keep up with you. So at that point, I mean, you could just sit back and do nothing, and that's what we're kind of seeing. Whereas the teams, okay, we're right at the top of the leaderboard, now we can kind of pull up on the gas a little bit. We're safe, we can slow down. But doing it the other way around, it's like, oh, we're going to be safe, so we can slow down in the beginning, and then revving up at the end, where you think, okay, now we can make that final sprint and sort of overtake everyone. Maybe you're going to be a little bit disappointed when there's kind of a stone in your way that you weren't expecting, and then you trip and fall and you don't make it where you should be making it, and that's going to be super disappointing. You're going to try and avoid that, so get things going.
Yeah, I do believe in that ideology of make hay while the sun is shining. When you have every single opportunity to um to get stuff done, you get it done, because then you have to start scrambling and scrambling and scrambling when you have like the final few seconds. So that's like another difficult task in itself. Now, Esproxy, which one of these teams you think has not been making hay while the sun has been shining?
G3 Tempo, one of the teams that comes to mind. Yeah, Solar Esports and Team Somalia. I don't know what's happening with them today. Like, on Erangel, Team Somalia were down to one member within like first or second zone, I think. And then, the rotation didn't quite go as they wanted. Solar Esports, I feel like I haven't seen them. I think I've seen them, in a fight, and they've started a fight and they've tried to hold on to it, and then they fall off. They get taken out one by one, and there's just no return. And I don't understand. Solar Esports, a team from Senegal, team that has been doing really, really, really good up until this point in time. Team Somalia, I mean, you guessed it, from Somalia, also has been doing really, really good. And now it's just, I don't know if this weekend is just not theirs. Maybe they didn't have quite the time today to sort of, get themselves set up for the games. But it's just not working out for them. And it's so bizarre to see them at the bottom of the leaderboard. they're not teams that we expect at the bottom of the leaderboards. So they've been a question mark for me today. Someone who hasn't been a question mark is Zero Tolerance coming through, and of course Infinity AF. They've been chasing the Sunrise. They've been chasing everything and anything that comes their path, and they've just been taking them out. And also really impressed with Lag. I think they're stepping up once again, as we've seen them do in the past before. It's great to see them revitalize. It's great to see them gunning for the big dogs, as they would say. They're not afraid, and they're very happy to take everyone out.
So there have been a lot of teams stepping up and obviously doing things in this particular round, Patchy. Now, in your opinion, looking at the way things are going, who's not pulling their weight? Like who's not pulling weight, and who do you think is not going to make it out of these two groups?
Ooh, who's not gonna make it? Ah, man, that's kind of tough. Right now, Isproxy was talking about Solar Esports. I'm right in that boat because I think they're sitting at the bottom of the log at the moment, or very close to that position, which is the strangest thing to see because they were doing really well in round one. I was very impressed. I've said multiple times how impressed I was with the fact that they were able to bring so many kills in. They were actually probably the biggest example that I've been using in this season for actually promoting why you should be focusing on kills a little bit more than placements, because placements are not as reliable, or you can't get as many of them. Chicken dinner's 15, so you can't really surpass that. It's the cap. Whereas you could potentially get 20 kills, for instance. It's not going to be super easy, but you could. So, kills are very, very important. We've been talking about the balance between the two. And Solo was sort of on the one side of the scale where they really did well in the kill department. Not really been the case this round in round number 2. And if they're not going to be able to make it up out of their situation, which, I mean, it's not impossible. We've seen it before. 4KT did it last season, last season. So it is possible. But like I said earlier, it's not where you want to be. It's not it's not the standard. It's not what you want to have to do. It's not the situation you want to be in. So I think if anyone's at risk of dropping out at the moment, it's Solo Esports. I'm not too sure where Team Somalia is sitting on the leaderboard at the moment, but they're also a team that's kind of in a similar boat. I mean, one of the most impressive things about this season has been our Incorsi promoted teams that have been doing fantastically well. I mean, the fact of the matter is we were watching teams like Rilla Insiders just handed to 4KT and G3, and they were dominating the top of the leaderboard in round one. We saw so many teams coming up. There was Magicians. We were talking about all of these teams that were doing so well. And now it's kind of like we have a mixed bag where teams that were doing really well have kind of started to fall behind. Some of them are moving ahead, but it's like a really weird separation where we're not really seeing a full maximum potential coming out of some of these teams. And if we don't see them, returning to their sort of full form, if we don't see them stepping back up and sort of, getting out of bed in that sort of sense, then they are going to fall behind. That's just the fact of the matter. And it's the most bizarre thing is that we know their potential. Like, we know that they can dominate the leaderboard. We know that they can be taking these chickens. We know that they can be winning. And now we're not really seeing that capability come out from a lot of them. So it is kind of strange to see in terms of that, at least. But I have to agree with Proxy when it comes to performances from some of the other teams that we have seen. Usually they float around the middle, but we have been seeing a lot of them stepping up. Lag was one of them. But I mean, even Zero Tolerance, for instance, we've been seeing them do well. Sincerity, they've also been quite well in this season as well. They were struggling a little bit earlier, but they showed that they're very, very capable. And the fact of the matter is, they're also in round 2 and they're making quite a considerable amount of progress, whereas some other teams that we expect to make progress aren't really doing so. So it is a little bit strange to see in this round at the moment. And it's kind of weird. Who can say who's going to drop off? But yeah.
Pachi, you know what? In Nigeria, we'll give you a special award. We'll call it Night Post, the postal service, because you send a letter and it never arrives. Because you just use English now to dodge the question. But I like that. You spend like 2 minutes talking and you don't answer my question. But it's okay. We're going into Miramar right now. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm leaving you very capable hands of S-Proxy Apache. I'll see you guys after the
Fold out.
Thank you, Dr. Sims. Yeah, I mean,
I would
You've
avoid that
seen-
question every day for the rest of my life. I'm not gonna. If Dr. Sid asked me that now, I'd be like, you know, that's very interesting, but I'd like to talk about this instead.
Yeah, that's interesting. But how about we talk about this?
How about we talk about this zone though? And I mean the flight path. You know, no, we avoid.
So
those.
right through my tactics. Yeah.
I mean,
Well-
it's his job as the host. You know, he knows what you're trying to do. He's at least he's nice about it. I would have just asked you again because yeah, I mean,
Oh, well. In any case, we've got map number 3, ladies and gentlemen. We have our Miramar map to end things off for the games today. And truly, there have been a lot of question marks and a lot of questions that we have been asking. And the zone does a thing again.
why?
It does a thing again.
Why?
The zone's on something else today. I think. Maybe it's the zone that's throwing a lot of teams off. Maybe that's
I think
what
the
it is.
zone really likes Infinity AF because notice who's the first team in the zone. First team on the ground. Right.
Well,
now.
we've got ATROX down on the South Island. That's plus 100 patchy points right there.
I think they're the first to use that island actually.
I do actually think they've dropped there before, if I'm not mistaken. There is a team that does go down there sometimes, so that's nice to see at least.
Impressive. We like it. We love it. So, yeah, this zone. This zone really likes Los Leones today and La Bedenita. So I mean, it's okay. Impala being visited. So I can't. No, Patchy. What are we watching? What is the zone doing?
Well, right now, it seems to be telling the teams that the test
They
for
must go
today is,
away?
can you walk without getting
Catch
shot?
me if you can.
Yeah. You know, how well... Actually, I mean, I guess this is a good way to test a lot of the team's rotational capabilities, at least, because they're going to have to really make decisions about whether they want to get in zone or prepare first. And that's actually an interesting concept that we have seen a couple of times, where some teams, when they get like a bad drop, so let's say the flight path takes them to the east and the zone's all the way on the west, sometimes they'll just get in vehicles and rotate as far as possible because they know that most of the teams won't be in yet. I mean, for instance, right now, the Sidemen are moving in. There's no one inside that zone right now. I mean, sure, Infinity AF's across the line and maybe Unique a little bit, but ultimately that zone is basically empty. So they know they can just go right in wherever they want to go, pick a spot, get in there and loot up without any problems. They're not going to have any problems from anyone unless, you know, randomly someone decides to just rotate into the same area, which, you know, I mean, the chances of that are relatively low at this point. So they've made a good decision about getting in there. They're going to have control of Los Leones for the moment. They can choose whether they want to stay there, whether they want to leave. They can get the loot, go to somewhere else, and then find a good place to fortify, find a good defensive location and stay there. And I mean, right now, for instance, if I was actually playing this, and I was either Sidemen or maybe a team like Solo, for instance, you know, maybe I just take the road all the way down to Impala and just sit there because that's actually kind of nicely towards the middle of the zone at the moment. It's out of the way. No one's there. It'll give me a little bit of time to recuperate. And for a team like Solo that we've been talking about quite a bit, that might just be the leg up that they need to make some points in this match, which of course is going to be super useful for any team that is currently dragging behind on that leaderboard.
Yeah, there's unfortunately a lot of teams, like we said, we don't want to be seeing them there, but unfortunately they are. And the only way that they're going to get themselves out of that situation is by climbing and climbing, as you mentioned. So I would be interested to see what sort of strategies these teams are going to be imploring here to try and get themselves inside. Man, beautiful position for them in Los Leones. They're going to be holding that down. Team Unique now also pulling in. Infinity AF haven't really moved from the spot that they've dropped at, so they're just waiting for teams to go on in. They might be able to gatekeep there a little bit, maybe get a few kills. Look who's shoulder to shoulder right now. It's G3 Temper and Lag. Right next to each other.
Rematch.
Rematch?
I want to see it.
4v4 battle of the century. Lag though going to be rotating on into Infinity AF, so we might see a little bit of a different rematch. Maybe Lag have changed their targets because they've been seeing Infinity AF picking up two chicken dinners. We need to take them out as soon as possible, so we might see that going down now. Many of the teams, of course, doing the exact same thing, trying to rotate on in. Solo Esports seeing them alive, good for that. Hoping that we see more of them. Looking at the rest of the teams, Sanhok AT just ahead of Rain from Hull. And BBC as well still has to make the rotation in Zero Tolerance a little bit late to the party, but they'll be okay. ATROX, of course, just taking that long rotation around to potentially Impala. They might stop at Hueso there, but either way, they're going to be having so much landscape to themselves for the time being. So that's really good for many of these teams. Hopefully they will have a better opportunity to loot up and get set for the rest of these battles. Where's Team Somalia?
It looks like they ain't here.
I can't
That
find
might
them.
explain a lot.
No, they have been here tonight. They're just not here right now, which makes me sad. But it's okay. It's okay. I was waiting to talk about them, but it's fine. It's fine.
Sometimes things just don't work out.
No, it's fine. Whatever. Take it away. I'm dead now.
Well, what we've got for us is certainly going to be a little bit of a slower start to the game here. It's going to be these teams just moving in, looting up. I think the cautiousness from the teams is warranted, considering that zone was a little bit far away from the flight path. So
A little bit.
a little bit. So they'll be forgiven for taking their time here. But I'm going to be very interested when the fighting eventually breaks out, because at some stage it's going to happen, and the teams are going to get into the thick of things, and they're going to be stuck in the exact same situation that they have been for the last 2 maps. They're going to find themselves sandwiched in between 2, maybe 3 other teams. It's going to be crossfire. It's going to be scrambling. It's going to be fighting for space, fighting for cover. It's going to be a tough time, and I'm wondering to see if any of these teams are going to try and break out of that mold a little bit and maybe just go hunting for some teams in the area, go make some space, pick a fight, especially if the team is doing really well at the moment. If it's a team towards the top of the log, maybe you just want to go and cause havoc a little bit, because that would certainly change up the landscape of the game just a little bit, and maybe just make some opportunities where previously there were none. And I mean, some teams would very much appreciate some of those opportunities right now, because it's the last game for the day. So anything that you can get in your hands is great.
Absolutely. And I mean, for many of these teams, this is literally all that they can work with right now. So hopefully we'll be seeing some of those teams that we mentioned picking up the slack today and really showing us this last game, showing us Flames, making Miramar as exciting as they possibly can. BBC going to be rolling up right between Sidemen here. Not sure if they're aware that they're in enemy territory for the time being, but Sidemen definitely did hear those cars coming through, so surely we might see a little bit of aggression. For now, though, immediately back into the cars, the regrouping has happened, and BBC as a group are just deciding to, no, we're not dealing with this right now. Sidemen does look like they have 1 car ahead. We'll be running past, a couple of shots exchanged for the time being, but nothing going to be making any sort of serious impact for the time being. Magician's actually running up there onto ATROX. And Sincerity and Zero Tolerance, some of the outliers that still have yet to find themselves a little bit of safety there into zone. Lag and G3 Temper still very close to each other. Now Zero Tolerance actually picking up one of those stragglers there from BBC. Going to be happy to do so. Rolling on back into safety with numbers and still holding the line. We've still got only 14 teams in this one tonight for the last match of today. And I'm curious to see which teams will be actually picking up the slack here. Will we still be seeing that Infinity AF winner chicken dinner? We'll be seeing a little bit of a change of pace. I think many teams have been pretty close to stealing that away, but it's just those final fights. It just seems like Infinity AF have their procedures down. They know what they need to do, Patchy.
Yeah, I mean, it seems that way, and maybe those procedures are going to be tested soon. You can see G3 rolling up. We've got Team Unique right here in the compound opposite the road. So maybe some shots will be fired in this particular location. You can see a couple of those are going off, and actually Gunner is going to be the receptacle of that, taking quite a bit of damage from Azuri. And some nice shots going in towards G3, and this is the kind of situation that you've got to sit and analyze a little bit, because of course, we've been talking about how G3 hasn't really been performing up to scratch, and we've been talking about why that is, but the reason for that can actually be put aside for the moment, because regardless of why performance is the way it is, we know that it is the way it is, and because of that, we can have a look and see what the results of that are. Right now, Team Unique is kind of wreaking a little bit of havoc. Sincerity on the back line trying to make a rotate, and Azuri, he's just able to move over there, put the crosshairs in that direction, and put some really nice shots across it, kind of harass them from that distance, and then turn around and start harassing G3 once again. And yeah, G3 don't really have their vantage point from their traditional sense. Usually we know that they like to go up into some more advantageous positions, whether it be a house or a mountain or something like that, something that gives them some good angles to work with. Now, granted, the rotations have been a little bit difficult in this map so far, but I mean, usually we see them settling in a difficult location. I mean, I vividly recall earlier on in this very season where G3 just made a dash straight into the middle of the zone because they were like, all right, we're not even going to sit around here taking these fights. They had been fighting for the last couple of minutes. They were like, okay, we're just going to abandon the fight. We're going into the middle of the zone because we know there's a thing there that we want. We're going to go take it, and now we're just going to kill everyone from here. So, seeing them sort of just hovering around and maybe trying new things or potentially playing a little bit slower, it changes things because now they get taken out, and they don't really put the points on. I think G3 is safe for the moment, but at least they've been here in this map so long, and they're still looking to pick fights. So maybe something can still happen in that particular department. But in the meantime, Skeeter are going to be both flinging and riding himself over, which is always a fun time when it comes to PUBG. That's always great. Riding yourself over. That's fun. That's a great pastime.
Where are you gonna go with that one?
I don't know, but it's fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's yeah.
We'll settle on that.
Good fun time. Good PUBG Mobile fun time.
Yeah. I mean, we could test in what ways you can run yourself over and with how many vehicles you can do so.
I feel like I if you look at my PUBG Mobile games, you definitely have the data for that.
Yeah, maybe I'll go and analyze those. Yeah.
As we're looking at the $0 is still making those rotations in, unfortunately, quite a long one, and they will be running just behind Slime4KT and Rain from Hell, so need to be careful of that. Ooh, look at that zone. Infinity AF just going to be on that margin there. We do see many of the other teams that we've been waiting for, Magicians, ATROX, BBC, Rain from Hell, and Slime4KT in that zone right now, holding and waiting for some sort of a position here that they can work with. Many teams, this is going to be an interesting one, because now I think we still have all the teams left. They still have to fight for their spot. G3 temping up, picking a little bit of a fight there with some of the teams there. Case just barely running away, trying to hold on to whatever they can, but many of these teams now still have to pick each other apart. You can see Gunny here just trying to find some sort of an angle to work with here. Put some bullets into the team there of Team Unique, but they're going to be making their rotation in fairly unscathed for the time being. But the rest, I can't say that that's going to be the case here. Lag once again just behind G3 Temper. I feel like they're just haunting them. They're just sneaking up on them, just waiting for that time to really pack the punch, really. Ooh, Infinity AF actually picking up Solar Esports there. And ATROX picking up Magicians. Oh no, what is happening? Why are we seeing these same teams picking up the points?
Who knows at this point? You're going to get taken down by Case. Unique doing what they do, and they have been really on the up and up here. Unique picking up some points for themselves. Flecker getting taken down in the meantime as well. So Esports trying to make the rotation away. Ujira's going to abandon ship as Bjorn gets exploded by Case. Case has been quite the strong arm for Team Unique here. He's been doing quite a bit of good work, but there it is. The insta-knock comes through, getting caught out by the Infinity AF. These guys have been dominating all day long. They don't care who you are. They don't care where you are. The Infinity AF is on your back. They will be taking you down. These guys have just been on something else today. I don't know if I was convinced after game 1 and after game 2, maybe on the fence, but after this, I mean, surely you have to be given the respect where the respect is due. Infinity AF have seriously come up to play today. And these games have just been fantastic from them, and now they're up once again. They're pushing up in towards Team Unique. Ammo getting ready with that nade, tossing them over. They're just ready to, put the pressure on. They're sieging these teams one by one by one, and this is exactly what we've been waiting for. This is what we've been wanting to see. Some teams haven't done it, but Infinity AF certainly has, and now they're up on the front lines once again, taking a fight against all of these players here from Team Unique. So Infinity AF been doing really well so far. In ammo coming up for the side shots in towards Aziri Exist, gonna just jump into that vehicle and run away as quickly as possible. They know they're in a very difficult situation to manage here. Zero going to retreat to the other side of the mountain, and Infinity AF just going to bide their time. They are inside the zone, so they're okay for the time being. No cover to use, but here comes that zone rotate off in towards the east, and the teams are going to start moving down, and this is where things are going to start to get difficult here, because now is when the space starts to run out. Interesting to take note of the fact that both G3 and Lag are just towards the south of La Bendita down there in the blue zone, so that's going to be a difficult fight to take for them.
I was just about to say, why are they still in zone? What are they doing? G3 Temper now actually picking up a little bit of a knock there onto Lag. Lag down to, I think, one member. Oh, nope. Gone. Lag is out of this one. G3 Temper have just found themselves the full circle revenge. They have come back on Miramar, maybe sacrificed a player or two to the play zone, but they have gotten revenge on to Lag. So maybe it was worth it.
That's what it's about.
They picked up four kills here, so they're going to be happy with that one. Now looking at it though, many of the other teams who have prioritized those rotations. Oh no, please don't tell me Gun is about. Okay, no, Flacco's in zone. Flacco's the only member in zone.
Listen, all right, listen. Some people think...
Question mark?
Some people think that the game is about having fun. Some people think that the game is about winning, but it's actually not. This game is about the sweet nectar of revenge, of slaughtering your enemies and laughing in their faces as they head back to the lobby. That's what this game's about.
The solo, well, weirdly enough, the solo from G3 and the solo from Solo now picking up a bit of a fight there, so we'll see how that one turns out. Gunner. Oh no. Flacco actually managing to win that one out, so Solo going to be going down in 12th place. Rain from Hell and BBC now looking at each other's real estate here, trying to hold on to the line here, trying to make sure that they're the team holding this angle of the zone. Zero Tolerance not going to be bothered whatsoever. Same can be said for Magicians, who just have their own little spot in the zone. Sincerity and Team Unique rolling up onto each other's spaces here. Slime for KT in a little bit of a sandwich for the time being, but will be able to potentially find themselves a little bit of a hidey hole there. Infinity AF still need to move into zone, and you know, they've been a very interesting team. Like, we talk about luck of the zone, you know, the zone pulling, you know, really into their favor, but as you mentioned, you know, first time, okay, maybe it's luck. Second time, you start thinking about it. Third time, if third time happens, then that luck is just pure skill, and Infinity AF have been holding out on us, which I'm not happy about, but I'm happy in a different sense about it. Either way, we'll have to wait and see what these teams have in store for us. Sincerity holding the line here for Team Unique and making sure that, yeah, you're not rotating off from this one. Rogue Baby going to be pushing on in, trying to find the line here, trying to find another kill. Zuri just trying to hold on out and get out of there. Exists, unfortunately, will have to be sacrificed. A little bit of damage, though, being exchanged. Ammo there, going to be finding Rogue Baby. Now, Sincerity down to 3 members. Trying to hold the line here. Infinity AF, they didn't need to get involved there, but because they did, potentially Team Unique now have something to work with.
They didn't need to get involved, but now they're here to steal your kills. This team is literally Mr. Steal Your Kill team, and they're here to steal your kills. If you're going to be fighting and they're not a part of that fight, they want in. They want the pick up the pieces. Kratos actually going to nade the last remainders of G3 out of existence there, so a goodbye to them. And BBC now taking a fight against Hades and Scooter as they start making their way on up. But BBC also doing quite well today, picking up a good amount of points, and they're looking to continue that particular train. Slime 4KT just to the north of that location. Rain from Hell to the west of them. And up in the north, we've got quite a few teams moving in to try and scuffle around. Sincerity going to be moving down towards the west. They're actually going to take up residence on that side of the zone, which is going to be completely empty. So they're going to put themselves in a really, really good position here to potentially make that final push into the end game of this final map here for today. Right now, we've got the Sidemen right up here with Infinity AF. Of course, Infinity AF being the team that have taken back-to-back chicken dinners today in these games, and maybe looking to repeat some of that success here in game number 3. And like you said, if they could pick up a third, that would just be absolutely insane coming out of them. I mean, they'd have just turned up them the performance is 211, which would make sense considering moving to the end of the game. Skeeter going to get annihilated. Neon gets taken down as well, thirsted immediately by Zero Tolerance as they move forward on that particular scale. They're all trying to make the rotate. The Sidemen getting caught out. They try and push up on Infinity AF, but it kind of goes sideways a little bit. They do pick up ammo. Infinity has to be careful. They're moving back. The smokes have been popped, but the damage is too much. Matrix putting it in. Lucas going to go down, and that is maybe going to be the end of that indeed. They will just be able to annihilate player after player until Dizzy is the last remaining player behind the vehicle, but the Sidemen are going hunting. They want that last bit of damage in there. I mean, one bullet should be enough to send Infinity AF back into the lobby. HP goes back up. Matrix has a little bit of work to do, but it's a 1v2, and I'm not sure if Infinity AF is going to be able to hold on for much longer. They've been doing a fantastic job today, but eventually that has to run out. You've got to run out of steam at some point, and this might just be it. Matrix making the push on up, and Dizzy has to fight to the last tooth and nail, and here it comes. The shots go in, but is it going to be enough? Too much damage, too many players to contend with all at once, so the Sidemen will be able to finish them off there and keep themselves here in this game. 8 teams remaining, 18 players. That means we've got a lot of straggling players hovering all around this map right now, and they're going to be fighting it out to see who is going to take the chicken dinner for game number 3.
Slime4KT still in the conversation. Zero Tolerance now, unfortunately, taking a little bit of damage, down to 1 member remaining, desperately trying to fight it out. In the car we go, and it's not going to be the case. Season's going to have something to say about that one. Slime4KT now taking out Zero Tolerance, meaning we're down to 7 teams remaining. Nihal still needs to make that rotation in, and they will be right on the heels of Slime4KT, who are on something else for this game this time around. Rain from Hell now holding on here with 2 players. Sincerity, one of the only teams in the zone, just waiting for everyone else to rotate on in. Please, we wait. We want to see it happen here. Looking at it now, if they can hold this line, we might actually be seeing something coming through here from Sincerity. They were very, very close in the previous match, but this time around, who knows what could happen. Now, looking at it, Sidemen taking an unfortunate little bit of a knock there. Matrix going down. Sleepy and Sad Boy now still alive, still popping some nades to try and hold on to this one. Have to be careful, though, because if they peek a little bit too far, they might be in the crosses there of Magicians. And as we look at it, Slime4KT now trying to make that rotation in. Going to be taking a few shots there from Sincerity in trying to do so. Where is this going to end? 5 teams left, everyone fighting for some sort of an angle here to work with. Cover not looking too great. Easy going to be going down to Matrix there. A little bit of revenge story coming around. Sidemen now feeling the pressure, though, from Magicians, who are looking just as eagerly for any sort of an angle here, for any sort of knocks to come through. They want those kill points. Rain from Hull not feeling too healthy at the moment. It's only down to Jin, who has to try and get the res. Slime4KT going to be not allowing them to breathe for any extra second as they push on through, trying to find that angle. Down to 4 teams now. Patch, we've got 9 players left, 4 teams, and everyone's scrambling for some sort of an angle here.
Yeah, and that is exactly what is happening. They're just scrambling for an angle, trying to stay alive here. They know they've got to give the respect over. They can't be brazen. They can't make any missteps. They have to think long and hard about exactly the moment that they need to take that shot, the exact moment that needs to happen. Jin looking for a moment, but getting taken out too quickly by those Slime4KT players who are roaming the mountainside. Sincerity roaming the opposite end, the opposite mountain across from Slime4KT, and they're just putting the damage in there. Willie finding the Magicians there on the one side, doing quite a bit of damage in towards them. Slime4KT still trying to fight up here towards the crest of the mountain. They also have to be very, very careful here because those third parties from the Magicians could definitely come in. Smoke's getting popped. Everyone is trying to get themselves back up to full HP. Aimbot looking for a potential angle down in towards Aimer. Easy actually making the flank all the way to the side. They might just be able to catch them out. The shots coming through from Slime4KT. Sincerity also getting into the tussle here, trying to make the damage happen. Is it going to be enough? Slime4KT on the approach. Moving through, the Magicians have had a very tough time in contending with both of these teams. Yes, Sincerity have just been keeping them at bay, but Slime4KT looking for the angles through the smoke, and they're finding one-on-one. They have to go back for the res. They know if they lose their players, it's going to be difficult to beat the team of Sincerity up on this mountaintop. They have to be careful to manage all of their players, keep them alive, and maybe choke out the meds away from Sincerity. They might not be able to subsist for too long if they don't have the meds to sustain themselves. Oh, that LMG coming in might also just be what they needed to lay down the damage here. Easy, still on the back line. He could cause a little bit of chaos here. Rid's going to get taken out there. Slime4KT turns their attention to the Magicians just to make sure that they stay in place. They do not want to get third-partied right now when they take their fight against Sincerity. They make sure that their backs are covered here. So Slime4KT now forming a line, slowly pushing up. They don't want to get too aggressive just yet, but they have the angles. They're looking forward. But oh, what a clap from Willie. Accuracy off the charts here. Just going to find that hit and take down a Slime4KT player in that hut. That's going to take away a lot of their firepower. And now they're split 1-for-1. They have to go in for the res again. A good nade into that hut might just be what they need. Hopefully they get maybe one in there. Oh, there it is. Willie gets taken down. It's from Slime4KT. They put them in a back foot position here to try and get that res up, and they will indeed do so. So they're doing a really good job of making sure that they're keeping their players alive. Easy on the back line now with this tree, not able to be assisted by the team, and the beams coming out from Slime4KT take them down. Just not able to manage against Slime4KT's consistent reviving and just staying on the back and putting that damage in. Unfortunately, it looked like they may have run out of meds a little bit there towards the end. They weren't able to make the final sprint, leaving the Magicians right on the back foot here by this truck, and they've just sort of stayed in place for most of this fight, for most of the goings on, because they know that those two teams clashing were really the big dogs in this zone. So they stayed back and they weren't eliminated. And now they're in second place, and they're maybe going to try and fight for that first, but to take it out of the hands of Slime4KT is not going to be an easy task. And with that Molotov coming down, that might just end it all. In fact, it does so much damage through. And Slime4KT will be able to take that chicken dinner and get some much needed points in their pocket, just to make sure that the teams know we're still here. We're still, we're still able to take those wins.
As a trio. Again, you can't give Slime4KT any sort of angle, any sort of gap. They're going to be using it, picking up 10 kills there with the winner chicken dinner. Means they're going to be picking up some serious points on that leaderboard. And again, maybe that's all they need to do. Maybe they're just waiting for the last game. They're like, okay, now seems like a good time. Should we do it now? No. I can't believe it. It seems scripted.
It was like, no. So I guess they did it. They wait for the last game, get some points on the board, know that where we are in the overall leaderboard, we just need 10, 15 points and we'll be all right. And that's exactly what they did. But that was an exciting game to watch. Them flying left, right, and center strategies, teams fighting for the points that they need to make it into the next round. Ladies and gentlemen, Slime4KT coming away with the winner chicken dinner. We are quickly going to be taking a look at the standings after that last map. And then we're going to be looking at the overall standings, which shows us exactly where the teams are positioned moving into the last stages of semifinals. So in a few seconds, we're going to be seeing one. And ladies and gentlemen, I just have to ask Patchy this question. What was your highlight after that last map?
The highlight for that last map, let's have a look. There were a couple of plays that were very interesting. I enjoyed the fights that were happening towards the mid-game, where the teams found themselves kind of in step and everyone was sort of moving in and they had to take the fights. I think the last fight was actually probably the best out of those, though, because it was a really nice, sort of like a long-distance dash, if you will, between Sincerity and Slime4KT. And that was actually a really nice fight to see, because both of those teams had some really good pull in the beginning. There was some good back and forth. And I think Slime4KT just came out ahead because the war of attrition was in their favor. I think, like I mentioned, I don't know if this is 100%, but I think Sincerity started running out of meds towards the end, and the damage coming through from 4KT was just enough to keep them on the back foot. The two Sincerity players had to retreat to the back line to try and defend from that side, because they knew that the Magicians were on the opposite end, so they had to sort of be a little bit back and defensive, and that actually allowed 4KT to line up the damage that they needed and eventually win that fight. So that was actually really, really my highlight probably for that game. And of course, you can see that reflected here in the standings. 4KT taking that win, as we know that they certainly could do, although we've been maybe a little bit critical of the teams that should be taking wins and sort of find themselves towards the bottom of the log. So good to see that they can, just make their debut back on the top once again. Of course, the rest of these teams picking up some points here and there. Solar Esports, of course, coming away with 1 point, and Lag away with 1. Probably the biggest surprise there. We really thought Lag was going to be doing a little bit more in this game, considering how fantastically they performed in the game before in map number 2. But it is what it is. You can't win them all. You know, it's doesn't really say much about anything. These teams have all been performing quite well this season. So, you know, a little bit of hiccups here and there is basically nothing. A little bit of a scratch on the record, but otherwise, we've got our MVP, of course, coming from 4KT, 5 kills, 672 points, a damage, 25 minutes of survival time there with 28 seconds. And yeah, just to clear up that game, it was quite enjoyable. Today's games have been very interesting, very different, or perhaps a little bit more scrambly than usual. And it has produced some very interesting results. We've seen some teams really step up to the game in a big way, Infinity AF being one of them. That team certainly coming out with a really good performance in today's games. Weren't able to find a third chicken dinner, so the hat trick not there, but certainly a really great performance nonetheless. I mean, back-to-back chickens is nothing to scoff at.
That looks as super as we look at Slime. So I can't even pronounce that properly. Ladies and gentlemen, the overall leaderboards, here it is as we move forward. S-Proxy, tell us what's popping over here.
Seems like we have another team picking up those triple digits, and it is Lag Esports. They've been putting in the work tonight. I mean, they took on the big dogs, and now they currently are kill leaders, sitting there with 58 points, really picking up some serious points. I also see Team Unique, you know, sneaking on in there in 8th place. The Magicians in 5th. Infinity AF, 1 point away, 1 measly points away from those triple digits in the semi-finals. Same can be said there for Zero Tolerance. And I mean, it's beautiful to see so many teams from this group obviously picking up in this top 8. I mean, I think it's literally just Influence Rage Africa that we didn't see tonight.
Yeah,
that's actually crazy to think about. That again, I said it. It's been really close so far. I feel like the competitiveness of the season, the level that we've been seeing these teams play at, has just been such an interesting one to watch, because it shows how they've been improving, and it's thoroughly been enjoyable to see them really come to this level, and to really show that that everyone has what it takes to pick up Umzansi Season 4 so far. Sidemen also picking up 86 points there. G3 Temper just lacking a little bit behind there at 10th place. Sincerity holding the line there, but I do want to see a little bit more from many of these teams. BBC as well. Patchy, I don't know about you, but their performance, it was close. You know, there was a few good moments from them, but I also feel like they fell off there towards the end.
Yeah, maybe in a little bit of a way, but I still have to say I'm quite impressed with the teams that have still been able to make it up. I think a couple of these teams that we're looking at now, I'm not sure if Sincerity was one of them, but there were a couple of these teams that were on the last page that have now, you know, just made sure that they are further away from that last page. So that, well, I don't know if they were on the last page, but they were quite close to it. So, you know, they're keeping the points just enough to not be on the last page, which is, you know, considerable in and of itself. And I think that's really what the teams are aiming for at the moment, you know, because you don't really have to, you know, reveal your hand all the way at this stage. If you can make it up into the finals, then, you know, you're good to go. It doesn't really have to be a bomb. It doesn't have to be a swing-in finish to get into the finals. If you just make it up into the qualifications for the finals, then you're good to go. Then you can show your full hand and really give it your 110%. The teams that do need to step up a little bit, Young Thunder, actually one of the teams that has been doing well previously, and can certainly move themselves up out of this page, in my opinion, and are finding themselves in position number 18. So I'm expecting a little bit more from Young Thunder, because they definitely do have a lot more to show us. And I think maybe in my books, Team Somalia, probably another one that I'd like to see a little bit more of. Solar Esports, once again, a team that definitely I wished we could see more out of, because they performed fantastically in round number 1. So I think those are sort of my 3 teams that I'm kind of waiting to see if they can actually make that sprint up to the next page.
I would like to see more from Solar Esports and Team Somalia. I don't know. Tonight was a bit of a weird one, but taking a look at your kill leaders, you know, they've changed a little bit, because all of a sudden we have a new two new additions actually. Kato sporting second kill leader there with 21 kills, an average survival time of 18 minutes and 10 seconds, and 2.7 thousand damage dealt so far. Like Berserk there with 18 kills as well, not too far away there. ATROX actually have a player here dead, picking up 17 kills and 3.9 thousand damage. Wow, okay, those numbers are a little bit scary. Of course, Sully's still leading the pack there with 4,000 damage and 21 kills, but for how long is the question? I feel like many of these kill leaders keep changing week after week after week, and again, it goes to show the level of competitiveness that we've seen in Season 4.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it, the level of competitiveness. I really have to say big thank you to Patchy and S Proxy. You guys have done an amazing job today. The quality of the casting, the statistics, the blow by blow action is unparalleled, ladies and gentlemen. But we've come to the end of the show today, and we have to give you guys a big shout out. So, everyone watching at home, please make sure you drop a comment on the YouTube video. When you watch it, we need your engagement to keep the action going. So, that being said, we want to say thank you so much for joining us. Tomorrow, there's going to be more action coming from the Umzansi Esports League Season 4, brought to you, of course, by none other than Nordwing Gaming. My name is Dr. Sid, here with Patchy and S Proxy saying good night and see you tomorrow.